Sandra all the time is here with a cold heart true. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth-telling, more problem-solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. Get your water ready, get your tea ready.
Sandra all the time is here with a cold heart true. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And they start robbing, they calling Sandra. And if the rooster fly in the kitchen, they calling Sandra. And when they want to get the money, they calling Sandra. And even when they lose their honey, they calling Sandra. Every day, everyone wanna hear from Sandra. And all the time on the air, she's getting better. Some people say, honey child, that she's a savior. She's not afraid to say, and she will tell you. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama to call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. Tell your brother, tell your father, tell your mama to call Sandra in the morning, in the evening. They always calling Sandra. Politicians start fighting, calling Sandra. And when they start the bad parking, they calling Sandra. Landlord and tenant dispute, calling Sandra. And all the problem with the youth, they calling Sandra. Honey child. When they owe you plenty money, you calling Sandra. And they run away with your honey, you calling Sandra. Every accident around, you calling Sandra. And if your dog can't be found, you calling Sandra. from overseas, they calling Sandra, and even the burglaries.
Get your water ready, get your tea ready.
Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama to call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And they start.
All right, beautiful people. Happy Friday. I think some of you may have seen the notice that we're having some technical difficulties over at DMS station. Well, they're having technical difficulties. Logic is having technical difficulties. So there's no radio feed as of right now. Aww. We were ready for a good, hot Friday show, I can tell you. So this is the good thing about having redundancy, honey child. We are live and direct on social media, and the show will continue. So if you've got friends that normally listen to the radio feed, you want to give them a little ding-a-ling, a little phone call, tell them, hey, honey child, go on and tune in to Sandy on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. In fact, we can even do LinkedIn. Did y'all know we could do LinkedIn? We hardly ever do because I don't think anybody really listens on LinkedIn. But you know what? Today, just in case, we're going to get the LinkedIn feed going if we can. Let me see what else we got. We got X. Y'all want to do X as well? We can do X. We can do LinkedIn. We can do the community page. We can do the backup Facebook page. The YouTube. We won't do those, but I think we're good. How about that? All right. So, well, that means we can have a real honest show today. Lord Jesus. Ooh, is this like a miracle, an undercover miracle? Is the Lord saying, Sandy, go extra hard today? Go on through, honey, cheer. Is this the sign that we've been all looking for on a Friday, no doubt? Sorry, UCCI, they were going to come on today and talk about some stuff, but unfortunately, I want them to get maximum exposure when they come on, honey, cheer. And so here we are. A Friday with no radio. Somebody said, can you do ham radio? Oh, you know what we need? CMR needs its own radio station. You know, we're always trying to grow from strength to strength. So in the back of my head, I see in my future, I'm going to visualize it and I'm going to call it into existence. I wonder if Don Seymour wants to sell me Bobo. Don, you want to sell me Bobo? I don't have a whole lot of money though, but you know, maybe we can work something out. So, yes, I mean, I think that's the next logical step in the progression of CMR's growth, our own radio station, dun, dun, dun. And then we can become CMR Media. Oh my goodness. You guys ready for a Good Friday show? Happy Friday. Wagwan, folks, wagwan. Well, there's a lot going on, and we're going to do a little deep dive here now into some of these topics. So I've sent out the links to everyone. Let me, hold on a second now, honey chill. Let me send it to some of the groups because I've sent it to my list. Don't forget, if you want to join the CMR notification list, send me all your stuff. But when I say all your stuff, all I need is a name and telephone number, and we are good to go. All right, let me see here now. We're going to do Washington Boulevard group. Big shout out to them. And we're also going to do, let me see. Yes, no radio. Somebody said, morning, Miss Sandy. Why no radio today? I know you guys love the radio. Don't worry. If Logic is able to sort it out this morning, they'll let me know, and we can pop on to the show. So yeah, sorry, no radio, no radio. All right, let me see now. Let's talk about. Oh, we got our Caymanians in Florida group. I'll send them the link this morning as well. They might want to listen to some of this conversation. So yes, unfortunately, there is no radio because Logic is down at the station. So I'm surprised they don't have redundancy though, in terms of more than one more than one option for internet providers. I mean, I even little old me has that at home because, as them old folks would say, you can't put all your eggs into one basket. So, yeah. You make sure that you got yourself covered, because sometimes Logic has an issue, C3 has an issue, Flow has an issue. So there's certain things that, you gotta make sure you got redundancy in place because you cannot predict these things. Things happen with technology. All right, Gabby, good morning. Good morning, Miss Stephanie Brooks. Let me bring my little water a little bit closer. I feel my sinuses are a little bit congested today, so I'm gonna I got my little nasal spray I'm gonna do here in a little bit. Okay. Morning, Miss Stephanie. Dean Sinclair in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Everton says, good morning, Sunday. Happy Friday from the good US of A. A little bit chilly today, 55 degrees. Oh, that's nice weather. Morning, Miss Leanna. Boy, some mess has been going on in the United States of America, but we have to get to our own mess first. Have you guys been watching Donald Trump's case? I was listening to something this morning. They put Stormy Daniels on the stand. Ooh, honey child. That is some proper sauce. She was talking about when she went to see him. He had invited her to dinner, and I guess for him, dinner, codename dinner meant SEX. Because she showed up and he was in silk pajamas, ready to have a roll in the hay. And she was like, please change. I'm here for dinner. You see, people assume just because she's a porn star that you don't have to wine and dine her. She's like, you gonna feed me first, honey child. So she insisted that he change and put on his clothes, a shirt and pants, and have dinner first. And then she said when she went in the bathroom, she saw his what's that one thing that those old men use? Uncle Spice. What's it called? What's the spice thing called? Not Uncle Spice. What the heck is that fragrance called? Oh Lord. Whatever spice. Yeah, Shaka Zulu says redundancy is key in IT, especially. What's the spice called? Not Uncle Spice. Old Spice. Thank you, Priscilla. Yes, thank you. Oh my God, I couldn't remember that. I was like, Uncle Spice doesn't sound right. Yes, all y'all like Sandy. Come on now. Old Spice. He had the Old Spice in the bathroom. You see, I didn't take him for an Old Spice kind of guy. I got to admit, I thought he would have been like a little bit more bougie than Old Spice. That just goes to show you his age. Everton says, I got you, Sandy. Old Spice. Yeah, he's just a little perverted old man. Old Spice. Old Spice doesn't do nothing for people. No, First Lady, no radio today. Logic having some issues over in town, apparently. Funny enough, I'm on Logic here. I think I'm on the Logic network right now. But like I said, I got both. And so it's okay here. But if it comes up on radio, they'll let me know, and then we'll connect at some point. Yeah. So anyway, yes, redundancy is key. So yes, apparently he had his Old Spice out and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I know what this man has on his mind. Silky pajamas and Old Spice apparently only means one thing when you're of a particular age. You're trying to get your freak on." But there's a very interesting analysis of basically her testimony. And on two occasions, yesterday and Tuesday, the defense tried their best to call for a mistrial. And it didn't work. So they tried for mistrial after she gave her testimony, saying, "Oh, she went too far and she talked about stuff that's not relevant to this case and blah, blah, blah." The judge said no. He said that's what cross-examination is for. Cross-examine her. And then, that's your chance to set the record straight. Good morning, honey Jill. Yes, internet problems today. Okay, honey. Okay, good. Yeah, everybody call me. You're not on radio. I'm like, I know. Yeah, so then they called for mistrial even after they cross-examined her. And I'm hearing that she came across as a relatively solid witness. Like in terms of the sexual encounter, which leads to the rest of it, the hush money and the forging of documents to try and cover up the hush money and all that kind of stuff, because that's what he's on trial for. He's not on trial for having sex with a porn star. Let us be very, very clear. He can have sex with as many porn stars as he wants to. What he can't do is pay them hush money out of his campaign funds and then try to cover up that trail of hush money, which is what it is alleged that he did. So all sources are saying that she was actually a really relatively solid witness. And she has actually her story has been consistent throughout the years. Like, it's not like she said this glaring difference here and that, pretty much. And you know how it goes once you tell a story. There might be fragments of it because of how the human brain works. There might be fragments of it that don't always, they're not precise or exact, but the important details of that encounter, they were saying, let me get my little flag in the background going here. Oops, hold on one second, honey chill. They were saying that the important details of that encounter were pretty spot on. So I think he's in trouble. There we go. That beautiful Cayman Islands flag, honey chill. Oh yes, Gigi wore her little Cayman Island shirt today. She's got Flag Day at school, so she represented. And I love how she does it. She's half and half Caymanian, half Jamaican. But she never even asked about the Jamaican flag. She's like, "Mom, it's Flag Day today. Where's my Cayman shirt?" I mean, I wouldn't have been upset if she wanted to wear her Jamaican shirt, but she didn't ask for it. So of course, I'm certainly not going to be pressing that issue. I'm just saying. So, because she has both. She has a couple Jamaican shirts and she has her Cayman shirt. And she said, "I want my Cayman shirt today." I said, "No problem, honey Jen." Aliano says, "No radio, yo. It turn up time, Johan. Got the boot. What? Johan got a boot. Where is Johan?" So Vicky says, "Can we just start the cursing at 8 a.m.?" Oh my God. You guys are so funny. I know you're here for it. And if my aunt was alive, she would be putting some soap and water in my mouth every time I cursed, because she was not for that kind of lifestyle. Never heard her say a curse word in my life. So it's not that I got the words from her, honey child, but once you go to university, you get to hear a few words. You're like, "Oh, really? Is that how you communicate when you're feeling a little pissed off?" Oh yeah, let's get it. Hey, Jordan. He says, "Lay that sauce on heavy today. Hashtag political tea." I know. Yeah, Shaka. So we're on LinkedIn. I don't think anybody's watching on LinkedIn. Not even a single person. Do y'all not know that you can go live on LinkedIn? We have 2 people on X. Everybody is on Facebook and YouTube. That's where it's at in Cayman. Live, Miss Marla is on next Friday. So we're giving you guys lots of notice. We've got Caribbean economist and political advisor. Well, not political advisor, Caribbean economist and advisor, Marla Ducran. She is going to be on the program next week. Yes, Leanna, we've been talking about our cooking show forever. She says CMR needs a cooking show. Soon come. We are going to, oh my God. Like 2-3 years ago, I've been talking about this cooking show. Got my logos done. It's Cooking with Sandy, the whole 9 yards. And this is the year to make that happen. Trust and believe me. I wonder if Compass Media, they have 4 stations. Now I heard that, their station's not doing too good. I mean, I can't take it to the bank, but I heard that they're in the hole on an annual basis for Compass Media about $4 million. That's what a little birdie told me, between 4 to 5 million. And that is why Mr. Bergstrom had to unload it. And, yeah, that's not good. But now they got a bottomless pit of money because Uncle Dart's pockets are deep. But at some point, do you not think Uncle Dart, being the businessman that he is, at some point, do you not see him saying, oh, honey child, we're not going to continue to hemorrhage this money with these stations? Like, what do you think is going to happen to the Compass? Oh my God. Could they one day disappear? I don't know. I mean, it is a business, right? We'll see. I guess only time will tell. So Strong Wilt says, good morning, Auntie Sandy. How's your Friday so far? Friday's good. Like I said, my sinuses are a little bit agitated, so I got my nasal spray. And I did my sinus rinse this morning, so I think I'm ready. What? Oh, you know what I do need, though? I need my box of tissues. Miss Stacy, you might have to bring me some tissues, please. Miss Sanya's in the house. Good morning, beautiful. How are you? Dee Dee is here. Tyrese, Miss Barbara from the UK. Damien says you need a backup system. Elaine says logic not there yet. I mean, as things go, I must say the uptime, we're probably up 99% of the time. But yeah, here from my home studio, I was like, listen, I ain't taking no chances. We were having some issues and I wasn't sure if it was flow. So when Logic came a knocking in the neighborhood, I said, and hubby was in agreement, yes, we need to make sure we got some redundancy built in. And in fact, we also have a backup generator just in case CUC goes out too. We're going to be good to go, honey chair. Somebody just asked for the YouTube link. There you go. Good morning, Annie. How you doing? Wee Wee's here. Miss Anna's listening. She says, listening in the 345. Say what? Does that mean you're here? You're on island? You left Tampa behind? I love it. Yes, sir. Everton says, my bad, Sandy, the one and only. Yeah, that's what my aunt used to say. My Sandy. I was like, oh, poor little Aunt Lottie. Bless her little heart. Sonia, good morning to you. Yes, all of y'all get a car for guessing correctly that it was Old Spice. A virtual car. She owes him $500,000. Oh, you think she'll pay that once he's in jail? Who knows? Somebody really wants to roll in the hay with Trump, says Elaine. Well, when did this allegedly take place? How long ago was this? I mean, he hasn't aged particularly well, but this is probably, you think it's been 10 years yet? So this was a little while ago. I mean, I don't know. I don't find Trump attractive. He's an old man that wears his pants all the way up to his knees. He has to pull them all the way up here. And then, but I don't know. Everybody has somebody out there is what they say. Everybody, no matter what you look like, you can be shaped like a pancake and you can be shaped like a balloon with extra limbs or an alien or whatever. There's somebody out there who is going to find you attractive. So you hold on to hope, honey child. Some of y'all be like, Sandy, I can't find a man or woman or an it or whatever. There's somebody out there who will love you just the way you are. You ain't got to do nothing right? Some people love the lumps and the things that they can grab and hold on to. So, Trump, and listen, let's be honest here. Powerful people, especially when they have money or even the perception of money, the perception of a position and whatever, people sleep with them just because of who they are. It ain't that I'm sure that was probably the most boring sex she's ever had, especially as a porn star, because, she's had sex with a lot of people. I'm sure she wasn't into it like that, but, okay. Donald Trump, who owns Trump this and Trump that, wants to sleep with you. I guess you do it because of who he is. I don't know. Kind of to me, but I'm just saying. I get the concept of people in a certain position are, I don't want to say that they're more attractive because they're not, but they're more likely to get their way with you sexually. Yeah. I can't think about that too long. Irvin says, OMG, that's what my hubby uses. You like it? Pam says, I like brute best. Oh, y'all are old school with the sense. First lady says, Miss Sandy, you're looking like 16 today. What? I went to the dermatologist yesterday. Big shout out to Dr. Rebecca De Miguel. Just needs to do a checkup, nothing serious. And I have an obsession with watching these YouTube videos with extractions now. As disgusting as it is, sometimes I can't help myself. And so over the weekend, we were at the beach and I had on a bathing suit. We were at the pool side, I should say. And I had on a bathing suit. And she's like, oh, there's a mole on your back. And I'm like, a mole? I said, take a picture for mommy, because I'm a little bit obsessed with these things. And she took a picture. Actually, she did a pretty good job with the phone. And I zoomed in. I said, oh, that doesn't look like a mole. That looks like a blackhead. And Marlon's like, why did you show her that? And she's like, why? What's going on? My husband refuses to tell me anymore. If he sees any blemish on my back, he's not going to tell me, because apparently I'm a little bit like OCD about it. Once I know it's there, although I can't see it, I'm like, we need an extraction pronto. So I was able to get in to see her. She has estheticians, beauticians, whatever they're called themselves. And so they'll do extractions and stuff for you. So they found 3 blackheads. They're like, oh, they're so tiny. They're really tiny. I'm like, take them out, honey, Jill. I don't care. And so I was like, while you're there, have a look at my face. Do you see any of my face? She found one little one, like right here. She's like, oh, you could barely see this one. I said, take it out. So yeah, all good. Everything's good. So the thing with blackheads, man, they're just, once you have them, because they create that hole in your skin, they just keep refilling. That's just like, I forget the technical term for it. It's like dirt and whatever gets in that little hole. And you can't do anything about the hole. There's no way to close up the hole. I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm like, what about, when you go get stitches now, you can get liquid stitches, right? Like they do like a liquid thing to, can't you use liquid stitches on that hole to make sure nothing gets back in there? I'm not a dermatologist, but I can pretend to be Dr. Google. So I don't know. So anyway, it's all good. Prostitution is illegal in New York also, and she got paid for that time. Did he actually pay her for the initial act? Let's see. Stormy Daniels. Let's see. I don't know. With Donald Trump. Yeah, I don't, if it's illegal, it goes both ways, right? So listen to this headline. Stormy Daniels describes awkward and unexpected sexual encounter with Donald Trump. Awkward. Ooh, honey child. Oh my God. It's so weird. My brain, I cannot work my brain around this one. Wow. What a hot mess. Well, I know she got hush money. I don't think he called her as a prostitute that night because she showed up expecting dinner. He invited her to dinner. So I don't know if that's considered prostitution. Because a lot of y'all invite people over to dinner and end up having sex with them. That's not prostitution. Because she didn't show up as a prostitute. She's actually not a prostitute. She's a porn star. And I mean, technically there is a little bit of a difference. So I don't know if you're right about that one, Damien. She didn't show up in the capacity of like she didn't show up expecting to be paid for sex. It wasn't that intent on her part. So I don't think that is what happened. And I stand to be corrected, but I don't actually think he paid her that time either. You can imagine sleeping with Donald Trump for free? You better give me a trip to Dubai or something. No, sir. What a hot mess. Ay. Good morning, Andrea, Miss Aline. All right, we're going to talk about, I'll play the clip, this interview that I was listening to this morning. Maybe not today, but let's talk about all things Caymanian. Okay. First of all, you sit there, Damon, talking about a solid witness, a porn star. Yeah. Yes. You can be a porn star and still be an honest person. Being a porn star does not mean, and you know what? I understand they actually upped her credibility in terms of her being a porn star because they're like, oh, she's an executive producer on a lot of these movies. She writes, listen, all right, it's not like a serious movie when you're in a porn flick. However, they do make, they probably make more money than some regular actors and actresses. But it is a genre unto its own, from what I understand. I mean, obviously, I'm no expert in the industry, but I wouldn't say knock somebody just because they are a porn star. That doesn't mean that you're a dishonest person. And it doesn't even mean that you're a bad person, to be quite frank and honest. You could be a good person that's just making some poor decisions with your professional career, right? But a lot of people see it as a career choice. Yes, sir. All right. We'll see. I'll keep y'all updated. But listen, let's move on. Venice is having a good laugh. Gabby says she wants that bag. That's why she sticked her story. $130,000 is not a whole lot of money in the large scheme of things. I think her lawyers should have negotiated more. When he came with hush money, child, I would have been like half a million G's, honey. You better bring it good, Donald Trump. You claim you're a billionaire? You better show me some real dollars. So I don't know. I don't know. I think she got gypped on the deal. Morning, Joseph. All right, so there's no radio today because Logic is having some technical issues. I guess their internet's down. Let me try reconnecting. Let me see. Nope. DMS broadcasting temporarily unavailable. All right. So they said they'll try to let us know if we're on air. All right, let's talk about the Cubans. I wanted to have this conversation with our radio friends, but let's do it. CJW says, good morning, Sandy. You need some guinea hen weed root soak in white rum for your sinuses. Trust me, it's one of the best natural remedies. Oh, now, is this something that I'm going to be snorting, drinking? When you say soaked in white rum, what am I doing with it once it's soaked? I'm not familiar with this. Guinea hen weed root soaked in white rum. Sounds interesting. So yesterday, let me bring y'all up to speed on a few news items. First of all, before we even get there, let's talk about Caymanians in general. My favorite topic is our people. Y'all are a little bit confused sometimes. Not for nothing, but Caymanians are of two minds. Stick a pin. I don't even know what read root is. I don't know what read root is. I don't know. Somebody's like, what's read root? I don't know. Aliana says, here, Sandy. Low key gaslighting. If the price is right, she'd be down for the night. Child. Make sure if you can sell it, you better put that price all the way up there, honey child. Because y'all be like, oh, $25. No. Okay. Caymanians are confused people. I feel like I can say this without contradiction. Oh, look who's in the class. Johan is finally here. All right. Sometimes y'all say, listen, I can never predict. This is why I'm not here to please anybody and to make anybody happy, because y'all are so unpredictable. Anybody else see my point? Y'all ever notice we put up a post pretty much like the same thing as before, and one day y'all up in your feelings about, oh no, Caymanians, this and that. Next day, oh no, we got to treat people. I'm like, y'all are just all over the place. Messy. I don't know what it is. So that's why we just post everything. We're not business with what y'all think and who's saying what and whatever. Take it or leave it. You don't have to engage. You know that little scroll button? Let me show y'all something. See this mouse? By the way, this is called horizontal mouse in case any of y'all are interested. You can tell I use a lot of oils because look at my hand oils on there. All right, this is a horizontal mouse. It's a little bit confusing, but it's supposed to be better for your hands. Like if you suffer from carpal tunnel, which I do on occasion. So the position of the hands is like this. It keeps your hand in a more natural position. So somebody said you're not a bobo today. Yeah. Logic issue. Yes. Okay. So, your click buttons and stuff are on the side. So listen, y'all see the scroll button, although it's on the side here. Every mouse has a scroll button. So you've got to get used to seeing something that you don't like and just keep scrolling. Happens to me all the time. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Especially in that women's group. I'm like, these people. My other side of the brain says, Sandy, use the scroll button. Don't respond to this. Just keep on scrolling, honey child. And that's what I do. I just keep scrolling. All right. So listen. I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that here in a second. But let's get to some other relatively non-controversial issues. Yes? So we are renaming a school that was just named a couple days ago. Can we talk about government inefficiencies? When you guys talk about money being wasted and you're up in your feelings, oh, government wants to build $2 million facility for migrants. Yeah. Well, we don't have that kind of money. You know what y'all don't have money? Oh, you sniff it. Thank you for clarifying, CJW. Okay. Knowing me, I would have drunk it. Like, white drum, I guess I drink it. I don't know. So this is where something is wrong with our processes. This is a perfect example of why we are not world class. I'm just saying. Okay. Yes, Al. He always says it. Caymanians have selective outrage. Not only do we have selective outrage, Al, but we have confused outrage. Sometimes our outrageous attitude, that's totally not how you say it, but y'all know what I mean, is so confusing. It doesn't make any logical sense. It's not consistent in any way, shape, or form. So the Ministry of Education has announced an amendment to the name of the Sharon Marie Primary School, and it's now going to be called the Marie Martin Primary School. Say what? Y'all love to waste money. Okay? Perfect example of somebody in government, and I don't know who was responsible for this, not crossing their T's, not dotting their I's, decided to name the school And then come to find out the lady who they're naming it after, bless her little heart, Miss Marie, is like, oh, I don't really go by this name. I'd prefer it to be called the Marie Martin Primary School. Because most of you were like, oh, Miss Marie, Miss Martin, y'all didn't even know the woman's first name was actually Sharon. Because I guess she went by her middle name. So follow me now. Follow me, folks. I'm going to give you an example of where we go wrong. This is maybe a minor example, but it is an example nonetheless. Just in February, we had this amazing ceremony, unveiling, official renaming ceremony. Remember this? February the 13th, 4:30 p.m., the school hall at the former Georgetown Primary School. Yes, y'all renamed the school. She was there. Here's the official unveiling. There's the premier in her nice red and black dress. And here's the Minister of Tourism, looking sharp as always. There's Miss Marie, looking good. And she's looking at that sign. And I'm sure from then she was like, why do they have Sharon Marie in brackets Martin Primary School when nobody don't know me by that name? My God. So they built and had this sign. I don't know how much the sign would have cost. The sign was done. Official unveiling. These are the official photos. And guess what? Now they're coming back and saying that no. Hold up. Pump the brakes. We're going to be naming it the Marie Martin Primary School. That's going to be the official name. Jesus. Really? Miss Elaine says, does it matter? Yes, it matters because it demonstrates a degree of incompetence. You mean to tell me if they were renaming the school after her, nobody talked to her, nobody consulted her, nobody said, Miss Marie, this was what we're going to name it. This is what the sign is going to look like. What do you think of the sign? Nothing? For her to, even before you had it done, for her to say, I would actually prefer to just be Marie Martin. So now they're changing it months later. So that was February, March, April, May, 3 months later, right? They're changing it now, they say, to reflect the wishes of its namesake, who was a former principal who, and dedicated her many, many years to Georgetown community. Wow. She's expressed her preference for the name Marie Martin Primary School, which she said reflects the name by which she's known within the community. Duh. Somebody said just paint out Sharon, paint around the brackets. You don't have to redo the name. No need to redo the sign. Somebody said a sign like that might be over $14,000. Well, hopefully they can just change that middle piece. But what else have they already put that on that they might have to change? Letterhead, logos. I mean, I don't know. All I know is this is a perfect example of when you get it wrong. World-class civil service, they say. World-class civil service. I have my suspicions. I'm just saying. I have my suspicions that it's not world-class, and this is but one example. Next time, just a word of advice. Department of Education Services, or whoever, ministry, it says Ministry of Education. That's Julie's ministry, isn't it? Please confirm with the namesake that the name is going to be what they want it to be. Okay. Damien says maybe she does not like her first name. Well, I don't even know the woman, but I know that everybody calls her Miss Marie Martin. So I've never even heard of Sharon. When I heard of Sharon, I was like, oh, that's her real name? And a lot of people do that. There's a lot of people who don't use their first name. So this person says, many politicians wouldn't like it either. Several of them go by their middle name, Kurt Tibbetts, Ezra Miller, and the list goes on. Even Wayne Panton. Mr. Panton, his name is it W. Wayne Panton? What does a W stand for? D. No, it's D. Is it D. Wayne Panton? What's Wayne Panton's full name again? But nobody don't even know what his hold on. Let me see. He is G. Wayne Panton. Does anybody know what the G stands for? Nobody knows. Even on the Parliament website, it says the Honorable Wayne Panton, JP. They don't even have the G in front of it, but technically, in the body, then they have the Honorable G. Wayne Panton. Oh, he's named after his dad. Thank you so much. So it's Mr. Gurney. Yeah, that's kind of old man name. Still, I could see why Wayne is kind of like, just call me Wayne. So yeah, I mean, we get it. And if a building or whatever was named after him, he probably wouldn't want Gurney on it either, because everybody knows him as Wayne Panton. All I'm saying is communication is key. Folks, just talk to somebody. If you are about to rename a street, a building, a school, whatever after them, make sure you're getting it right. Make sure the name is spelled correct and it's how they want it. Yeah. Everton said what they should have done is they should have got together with her and then they'd get the proper name. I'm just saying, did they show it to her and she never said anything initially? And now she's changed her mind? I think there was never a conversation that was had with Miss Marie. Well, Tara said, we'll make it easy. We'll come and repaint the sign for you. We'll take the magic eraser and take out the Sharon and then the brackets around Marie. Lord Jesus. Irvin said Miss Marie's body language is giving disappointed. Ay. What a mess. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, I certainly can't make it up. Miss Mona says they should all leave all schools with the district names from day one, honor them in some other form. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel any way necessarily about that. But all right. Damien says 14K, man, give me that paycheck and I can fly to Honduras and get it done for $100 and send it back as cargo in Cayman Airways. Johan says, is this the best example of incompetence? Why you don't your BFF, aka the D? What? Why you don't your BFF, aka the DG, and give the many examples the public are confronted with daily? What's missing in that, Johan? You need to fix your sentence. Irvin says it's an easy fix. Paint out a stock of books. Soul look like where they had the Sharon. Bring it. Let me fix it, Fiona. So somebody said they actually fixed it already from when? And they've only now announced it. Oh, Miss Stacy, please bring me some tissue for my sinuses today. I feel them very, very agitated. Okay, that's interesting. This person says, yes. Funny enough, the sign was already changed like from March going into April, and they're now just putting it out there because on the PTA, we got the logo when they changed it, and they're going to get the date for me. Lord, government. Yes. Okay. Let's talk about other times when government tries to deceive the people. When they do something and then months later they come back and pretend like, oh, here's the announcement. It's just done. This is precisely why. When we hear little sus, we tell y'all, because we know how government operates. Yesterday morning, there was some sort of electrical fire or something at the prison. They claim they put it out quickly. It's all hush hush. Not an official statement about this fire. It's minor. Thankfully, nobody was injured, nothing major. But just tell the people there's no reason to be lying, because you sometimes lie by omission. Okay? Now, y'all want another example of them lying by omission? Let's have a look at this story over yesterday. There's another story. Yesterday, they say that Dr. Meredith Rankin has been cleared to return to the classroom. Another hot mess of a situation over at Redway Primary. You guys might remember this case. Was this the exorcist one where they were trying to exercise your children? And when I say exercise your children, I don't mean they were taking them out on the playfield to run track and field. I'm talking about they were trying to make them drink a substance back in 2021, praying all kind of foolishness over your children, questioning them about their sexual orientation. Young children, Aina. No, sir. I know one thing. This is why y'all better be glad Auntie Sandy can twerk and make some extra money and keep her child in private school. Because I tell you what, the day a teacher pulls that stunt with my child, somebody get boxed down. That's all I got to say. This is wholly unacceptable. This is the kind of behavior. I'm like, why would you? No. No, sir. So this alleged exorcism, again, something they were trying to cover up. Bring me some tissue, please. All right. This is something else that they were trying to cover up back in 2021 when we reported it. They didn't tell us anything about it, but some of the parents were so upset that they reached out. And so it was a combination of Dr. Vicky Frederick and this other lady, Dr. What's her name now? Dr. Meredith Rankin. She's a special education needs coordinator doing this kind of foolishness. I mean, what the hell? No, sir. Anyway, they issued a release on Thursday, according to the Ministry of Education and the Department of Education Services, that an investigation conducted by MASH unit, blah, 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 because all now we can't see no investigation, concluded that no further action was recommended, notwithstanding allegations made in the media. Yeah, cover up. So, come on through, honey chair. So now they're like, yes, she returned to work. But listen, she's been back to work since last year. So why are we getting this statement now? There's something that don't make no sense here. This doesn't line up in time. Okay? The timing of this is like weird. She was back in November. Why didn't you just issue the statement in November? But remember now, when they went back, even when Miss Vicky went back, we were able to tell you guys that they were back. And then the governor's like, oh, that was a mistake. She wasn't supposed to return back. We'll call her. Lord Jesus. Give me one quick second here, folks. Let's take a quick commercial break, honey chill.
BK Wings are back. You can still pick up the original wings and add your own buffalo, barbecue, or sweet and sour sauce. But now introducing 2 new varieties that come pre-smothered. Mango habanero and jerk. BK Wings are made from the best dressed chicken. Unbreaded, fried, and lightly salted to perfection. Order them plain and add your own sauce, or get them pre-smothered in delicious new jerk or mango habanero. BK Wings are back at Burger King. Grab them late at 7 Mile Beach or Red Bay. Open till midnight Thursdays and 1 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. BK Wings are back. You can still pick up the original wings and add your own buffalo, barbecue, or sweet and sour sauce. But now introducing 2 new varieties that come pre-smothered.
All right, honey child. So, yeah. Why this press release now? It's May. If the woman been back at work since 2022, no, that must be 2023. That can't be 2022. Hold on. Let me have Renee check the date on this because that don't sound right. Couldn't be that long. But anyway, the point is she's been back at work for a minute. What's the point here? Yeah. I'm just saying, when you don't do things and when you don't make announcement as things happen, what you do is you make people suspicious. Why are we just hearing about this now? That's what people think. What's the point? I'm just saying. It's weird. She's already been back at work. What's the big deal now? Why are you telling us in May if she's been back at work for 6 months? Like people don't know the woman back at work. Ay. Corvin says, I need exercise. You might need exercise, but I don't know about an exorcism. Oh my God. Siobhan says, hear you now. They're hiding the very electrical fire to Ras. Because I tell you what, when there's a situation at that prison, them poor prisoners get killed and they got to pay out some big time money. They don't want to pretend like they didn't know that there's an electrical problem. Sorry, folks. I'm getting my knees and necks ready. Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, we didn't know that we had an electrical problem there. Them prisoners soon have to call me again. Poor them. Live says, live happy, sorry. Says lying by omission. Wow, I learned about that in accounting class. Well, it's a thing. And politicians are the best at it, or they think they are. They do it all the time. That's why sometimes when we ask them questions, we have to redirect the question. Because we ask them one question and they try to do what you call like they're going to be very, very specific and answer exactly what you asked when they know you meant to ask something else. But you see, we on to them. Be precise. That's what I say. Yep. Mix and stir. Thank you. Good morning. Says Sandy, did you see the video with the male teacher in America allowing students to braid his hair in the classroom? No, honey gel. America is a hot mess on most days, so I did not see that video. But why would you be doing hair braiding in a classroom? They're crazy. No, sir. Miss Gwendolyn, good morning. How are you? Says good morning regarding the Cuban situation. No. We come into that. We come into them. No, we come into them. Don't worry, Miss Gwendolyn. We are coming. Lilith says very suspicious. Yes, it makes you question people when they do that. Jermaine, good morning. Says any teacher try anything like that to any of my child, I'm going to pull a Kevin on them. Who the hell's Kevin? Who's Kevin? Kevin who? Kevin. Who's Kevin? Government didn't make the living conditions correct in the first place. No, we come into that. We come into the Cuban situation. Y'all don't worry. We're coming straight up. All right. Anyway, government, thanks for letting us know all these months later that the woman is back at work. What we would actually have liked to have known and what we should have access to. Oh, the male Karen. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jim. What we would actually like to have is access to the full report so we can see exactly what the report findings were, what transpired, what happened. You so-called people in these government schools, you administrators and teachers, you have no right forcing your what is the word that I'm looking for, right? It's not religious beliefs, Because obviously there's an element of religious education in our schools. Your kids do, I think, a daily prayer or whatever. So it's not really that. We've accepted that we intertwine politics and religion in this community all the time, although we probably shouldn't do so. But your fanaticism, because that's what this is, religious fanaticism. Why on earth would school administrators, a school principal, Miss Vicky, and not for nothing, but, we're not on radio today, so I'm going to just tell y'all how it is. There is a saying that the bigger the sinner, the more that they feel that they have to compensate once they become a Christian. Some of them are out there whoring down the place for so long, having children for married men, and all sorts of foolishness, right? Being with these men for donkey years. Their poor little old Caymanian wives didn't know how to get rid of you. You were just a pain in their royal ass. But Jesus help us all. The day you found Jesus, the entire world must bend over backwards to accommodate your newfound beliefs. I'm like, well, where were your Christian beliefs and your fanaticism when you were sleeping with this man's husband and got pregnant by him? I'm just saying. You believe that you could ever be anybody's moral compass? You leave a lot to be desired. But they're the ones. I'm telling you, when they become a Christian, oh shit. They love to take Christianity to a different level. And I think there's some reason why that is the case. I mean, honestly, hold on one second, honey child. Yeah, my sinus is not happy today. Yes. People would say, and they used to tell it to you straight now, they wasn't gonna cushion it. We must be politically correct. They'd say, honey child, the bigger the whore, the bigger the whore. She gonna be the first one now sitting up in the pews in the front of church. See her right there, honey child? Sitting in the front row, looking at the pastor. And y'all like, oh, y'all better keep an eye on her, because we know what she would do to the pastor if she get a chance. They just go all out. It's not necessary. You can have your religious beliefs, your ideologies, your whatever. Go to church, fine. Believe in God, great. We all grew up Christians. Ain't nothing wrong with that, whatever. But please, performing an exorcism on people's children. Like I said, y'all lucky that this is a government school, because as fool as them Georgetowners claim that they are, they're still not gonna do nothing. They're gonna still let you give their child some unknown substance to drink. Listen, I would have been like, where is the substance? I need to see it now, because you're gonna drink a whole gallon of it and let me see how you feel. We try to teach our children, your body is your body. Nobody should be touching you in ways that you don't want, forcing you to eat or drink something like that. And yet some random school principal, holier than thou, come in with some unknown substance and spraying God knows what, talking about it's holy water. Only God, it could have been bleach water, as far as y'all know. Miss Marie, her name is Miss Vicky. You lucky. That's all I gotta tell you. You're lucky that wasn't Gianna Hill. Because you even put one little substance on her forehead, and me and you would have had to go in the corner down in the east and have a little conversation. Because I was going to be like, woman, what the hell are you doing? Now, I'm not a violent person, but I can tell you what. One thing that would make me a violent person is you touch the little chinny chin of my daughter. I can box you real quick. Anyhow, no accountability as usual. Faded Mary Jean says, LMFA. Oh, you a Leo, all right. Here, Johan, judge not yet. Huh? Judge not yet ye be judged. Hashtag citing. Oh, poor Johan. You know, I would be very suspicious of Johan if he was my man, because he seems to find a lot of excuses for all these situations. How about judge not? I mean, listen, maybe a lot of us have engaged in relations. You know, sometimes you didn't even know you were the other woman because the dude was lying to you about, oh no, he's single, he's separated, this on next thing. But you know, yeah, we're stupid like that. We've fallen for it. But to get pregnant for him and to be in the relationship for how many years? Oh, I don't think so. But now, thank God you're saved now, because then you can teach the rest of us how to do it. Hot mess. Ms. Moya says we have a report from 2011 from the UK officials that states that the prison has been deemed as uninhabitable. I'm going to just pin this message, Ms. Moya, because we're going to come back to that. Stick a pin. Your comment is relevant in so many different ways. Hold on, honey, chillin'. Siobhan says, I mean, true, some people play church or pretend to be Christians when they ain't. YouTuber 345 says, Sandra, that's because they have loads to atone for, holier than thou. I guess, but keep it to yourself. Nobody don't need you to be trying to exercise your children. And the part that made me very uncomfortable about the allegations is when she crossed the line asking these children about their sexual orientation. I was like, you mean your 3 and 4 children? They did not even know, right? According to the parents and what the children were saying, they didn't even know what this one was asking them. Are you gay? Are you lesbian? Are you They didn't even know what she was talking about. And, you know, sometimes you ask kids something, they're like, well, I don't know what that means, but they just want to say yes because they're like people pleasers. They had no clue. In my opinion, what she did with these children was akin to kidnapping them. Right? 23 children, crying, some of them crying uncontrollably, told that they were not allowed to leave, that they were going to hell and have demons inside of them. Who does this? And this is who you want working with children? The most impressionable minds? You want a Vicky Fredericks telling your children that they got demons in them? And ask them if they're lesbians, if they're this, and they don't even know. The poor children are so confused. They don't even know what are you talking about? She needs therapy. Both her and the other woman who's now back in the classroom for months, they need therapy. Okay? I want to know what corrective action has come out of this so-called MASH investigation. Has she had to sign something to say you will never perform an exorcism again on children? That you will not let your religious fanaticism get out of control? What has changed? Has there been any policy changes as a result of this incident? This is the slackness now that is holistically government. We get no information, no meaningful information here. Just that, oh, MASH said, oh, it's fine. No further action is required. Send her back to work. Just because the MASH unit might conclude that a criminal act, and I'm very doubtful about this, has not been committed, that does not mean that this person is ideal to go back working with children. That doesn't mean that there shouldn't be some policy changes at all of our schools to ensure that this sort of behavior never happens again. Let me flip the switch on you for a minute. If these were not Christian people, and this wasn't an exorcism, let's say that they were Muslim teachers or atheist teachers. Yeah? And they performed, I mean, I don't know what an atheist would perform. I guess they wouldn't perform anything because they don't believe in any of it, right? But say a Muslim performed I don't know. What would a Muslim perform? Whatever. Would y'all be sitting back so silently and thinking that there's nothing wrong with this? Y'all would have been up in arms. Oh my God, the Muslim people trying to do something to our children. Oh my God. Oh my God, an atheist said something to our children. Mm-hmm. We let a lot slide in this country that's ridiculous. Live says, this is horrible. Not this Georgetowner. Damien says, so I have a right to refuse untested medicine. Well, it depends on what you mean by medicine. Damien says that some people play to be politicians when they ain't. Okay. It's the norm in the States now, so I guess she figured she could do it here. The norm? You did that in America, you'd be slapped with the biggest lawsuit. You would have to pay those 23 parents some cha-ching. You sit at the top of the norm. Garrett said, when I was in primary school, sex was never in my mind. The only thing in my mind back then was holidays, weekends, and when school was done. Faded Mary Jean says she shouldn't be allowed back in school. And I mean, if you are going to allow her back in school, the parents have a right to know, what did this investigation find? Release the report. Why is all this stuff so hush-hush and secretive? Live Happy says the government must crack down on religious practices in school. In the UK, it's out of hand. The Muslim teachers would stop the class to pray. Damon says, so do the evil people who pass laws to have children do sex changes or take estrogen or I think he might be off topic here. Just a little bit. Deandra says they get a pay raise and only now they're doing foolishness to their children. And only now the kids are failing. They need to do better with our education system. Isn't that ironic? However, that is a perfect example of when you throw money at a situation. Throwing money at something does not fix it. So our teachers are making the most that they've ever made. $5,000 a month. Regardless of performance. There's no performance tied to that. And guess what? Worse results. Getting worse by the minute. Nobody should be surprised. Because throwing money at a situation or at people doesn't fix it. Madam Juliana O'Connor Connolly, you've been Minister of Education for 2 terms now. It does not fix a situation. Lord Jesus. What a mess. Oh, thanks for the clarification, Faded Mary Jean. Perla says, good morning, my friend. What about paradise you talking about? The paradise gone long? Okay, join the conversation, honey child. Keep up. All right. Let's keep it moving. Let's talk about them Cubians, as Caymanians like to say. Them Cubians. Okay. So, surprisingly, yesterday, and I'm going to tell you all a little bit of background information before we get to this. So, give me one quick second. Oh, my sinuses are not playing nice today. Hold on a second, honey. Gia. Let me go and sort out my sinuses. I'll be right back.
CMR has reached an incredible milestone of having the #1 talk show and being the people's #1 choice for news. We would like to wholeheartedly thank you, our loyal listeners and followers, for making this possible. This is going to be an amazing year of continued growth and acceleration, and we would like for you to be a part of the journey. If you have a company that's struggling to reach your targeted customer base, why not reach out to CMR's sales team? With over 200,000 followers on both Instagram and Facebook, your message will be more impactful by advertising with us. Speak to a sales specialist today about all of the ways in which we can help you elevate your game to the next level. Email us on sales@caymanmarlroad.com or call 324-1612 for a consultative meeting.
Hey, Cayman. Y'all already know we have the best wings at Popeyes. You made ghost pepper our top sellers, and then you did the same with sweet and spicy. Well, get your taste buds ready, because we are expanding our flavor range. We've added honey barbecue, roasted garlic parmesan, and signature hot. You can choose to sauce our mild wings, or the bravest of you can even sauce on top of our ghost pepper wings. The wing game is over. 5 new flavors with Cayman's favorite chicken, only at Popeyes on Eastern Avenue.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's talk about them Cubans. Listen, yesterday, the government announced that it was cabinet, in particular, it was approving some $2 million to build housing for the Cubans. Y'all have lost your mind. What? I read some of the comments. Oh, but we got Caymanians, poor Caymanians, this and that, and they're not making no money, and y'all need to take care of your Caymanians first. I was like, this is interesting. This is when I talk about how Caymanians talk out of both sides of their mouths. Let's do a little deep dive into what is actually happening here. A few comments that came in. This person said the school pushed their opinions on innocent children. This person said, not a word from parents. None are speaking out. Cowards, shaking my head. This person says, Johan is trying to prove that he's smart by always taking a contrary opinion. Well, that doesn't make you smart. This person says, oh, she's so nasty. She was a whore from high school. So I can see how she got into the poor woman marriage. Oh, Lord have mercy. I felt so bad for his wife. He's dead and gone now, although, so at least she can't disturb her any longer. At least not about him. Sandy, Johan is happy that he has your show to voice his not gonna happen opinions. Pilar would chew him up and spit him out. Ooh, honey chow. Parents should be protesting her removal, says this person. She should never be allowed to set a toe back on school grounds. What are they waiting for her to do next? So where is the parent-led protest to have these 2 teachers removed? Ask this person. In my view, the parents, along with the Ministry of Education, senior staff, are culpable. Duppy know who to frighten, because if it was my child, the matter would have switched to be what they're going to do with me in the aftermath. Ooh, honey, hold on.
Cut.
She need to have used the holy water on herself when she was keeping people husband. These so-called born-again people forget their sins. Good morning, Miss Sandy. Not newfound beliefs. It is newfound love. Oh. Miss Sandra, if the atheist teacher decided to tell a classroom of children there is no God, don't go to church, don't respect the Cayman flag because it is evil, you'll go to hell. Don't you think that teacher would be gone? Of course. Sure. Julie would be the first one to crucify him. All right. This person is hiring teachers based on religion and not skill set. The school is full of religious fanatics. Exorcism has been going on at Redway Primary for over 20 years, says this person. Wow. Y'all sure do put up with a lot of foolishness. I gotta tell you. No, sir. Wouldn't be me. Lord Jesus. What a mess. I tell you. All right. Let's move on. Cubans. So the government announced, I'm actually just trying to find the article here. Give me one quick second so I can make sure I'm getting all the facts straight. Da, 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 da. Where's the story? Didn't I send out the link in the early morning hour? I was up all kind of hours last night. Some of y'all might have seen me messaging all 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. This is strange. Hold on. Let me find the link. Why am I not finding it? I know for sure we posted it. I mean, I saw it with my own 2 eyes, I think. It was early in the morning. But I am sure I saw it. Hold on, honey child. Let me see here now. Yes. Oh, here we go. Why is it that this is so weird. Okay. So cabinet approves funds for new migrant facility. All right. It starts out, the article says, in a significant move to enhance national security and humanitarian response on Tuesday, April the 30th, Cabinet approved a $2.4 million investment in the construction of a new detention facility. Just recently, migrants expressed concerns to CMR about the poor condition of the facility where they are now housed. So there is a difference between the detention facility and the facility at the Boddentown Civic Center. So based on this, the detention facility, which is currently at Fairbanks, which was set on fire multiple times, and they've had some issues there. The government claims that there's been some funding allocated that reflects the government's proactive approach to the escalating risks associated with the potential mass arrivals of irregular migrants. So I want to make it very, very clear. This is about the detention center facility. So when Cubans come in, I'm hoping that by one day next week, we're going to have a proper interview. We're trying to work out the details with the CBC team. We will have a explanation of where they go to and how they move, right? So when they first come, this is my understanding, they have to go to the detention center first. And there are reasons why, and they have to be processed and identities confirmed and this and that and whatever. That is before they can, and while they're in the detention facility, there's no free movement. So they can't leave the detention facility, although we have posted videos of them scaling the fence and going about their business. If they escape lawful custody, so the detention facility is akin to a prison. If they leave that facility, right, they have escaped lawful custody. They are breaking the law. They can go to court. We've seen some of them in court already. They can actually be sent to jail. And the court has said it is dangerous for you to escape lawful custody. Now, I can tell you, based on the things that some of these Cuban nationals have said to me, they don't understand. They don't know. I don't know how and who is communicating with them, but something seems to be missing in the communication process. They don't get that when you first come, you get put in a detention facility. Like when they're coming off of their little ding-ding boat, we need to make it clear to them. Because the first question they ask is, oh, can I apply for political asylum? And our people saying, oh, yes, you can apply. And in their minds, they're thinking, oh, this is good. That means I'll get political asylum. What our people need to say to them is, listen, and you say it in Spanish properly, right? First of all, this is the process. Before you get off the boat and you commit to coming on Cayman soil proper, please understand this. You will go to a detention center. How long you are at that detention center will vary and be determined a number of factors. You could be locked up for months, upwards of a year, effectively, in an imprisonment situation. You will have no free movement. We will feed you. You have some kind of shelter. and it's overcrowded, so get ready. After that, if you choose to return home, we'll put you on a plane on our dime and send you back to Cuba. If you choose to apply for political asylum, then we're going to put you in an overcrowded facility that is a health hazard, a fire hazard at the Bontown Civic Center with 42 other people, and you'll stay there for years. Do you understand? That's what you're getting on board for? Somebody needs to be honest with these people. And I get the sense that they're not understanding the gravity of the situation once they touch Cayman soil. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Auntie Sandy. It's Johan. How's it going?
Hello, Johan.
Well, next week we'll be talking about Cubans because this conversation infuriates me every time you bring it up and you end up siding and feeling sympathy for them. They've landed illegally in the country, right? You cannot have rights when you land illegally. Logic dictates that there's a process to be followed where you have to go through something with the immigration and customs people. So for them, any of them, whether it's one of them, 42 of them, or 400 of them, for them to have an expectation that it is the job of the Cayman Islands government and the taxpayers of the Cayman Islands government to facilitate them and to give them a gateway to freedom, that just is not realistic. But the problem is this: we have made it easy for them, because what we should be doing is, from the time you are not under severe political mistreatment or threat of death, and that is proven, we should be able to turn around within 72 hours. Sorry, you're not going to be granted political asylum in the Cayman Islands because you're an economic migrant. And if we open up ourselves to accepting every economic migrant that sees Cayman as a better place than where they come from, the 25,000 Caymanians that are multi-generational stock, we will continue to be overrun, and it will be from everybody in the region who says Cayman has a lax immigration sort of process, and therefore, it's an easy mark. What's worse is we're now going to build a detention center, and yes, the facilities need to be improved, but we wouldn't need to be building anything if we could turn around, put people on a plane and send them back home. I'm not saying that we are Jamaica, but what the Jamaican Authority did recently was in the best interest of their citizens and their country. My question is, why can't we do the same?
Well, there's good reason why we can't do the same. Would you like to hear the reason?
Why we can't do the same? Why we can't do the same?
First of all, we're not an independent country.
Okay.
Second of all, the Indian government in that specific situation has a consulate an embassy, in Jamaica, and they openly communicated with the Jamaican government. Have you heard our government indicate what it's like to communicate with the Cuban government? One of the issues why there is a delay is we can't just randomly put people on a plane and send them to another country, and the other country is going to accept them without some degree of communication between the parties. The Cuban government has no interest. Listen to me very, very carefully. They have no interest in speaking openly and frankly, and in fact, taking these people back. They don't care to have them back. So what are you gonna do?
So that becomes a Cayman problem. If your own
of course
country
it's a
doesn't
Cayman
want
problem.
You, Sandra, with the greatest of respect, you're an incredibly intelligent woman.
No.
I got a lot of time for you.
What are you going to do? How are you going to land a plane in Cuba if the Cuban government says to you, these are the steps that you have to go through to return these people who claim that they're Cubans, but we have no identification on them. We don't know if they're...
problema. Los pasajeros son
It is
cubanos.
your problem because you can't just land in Cuba with people.
Caymanero. See, I get that part, but you're telling me now that we're going to spend millions of dollars. But you can't be getting it if you're saying just drop them back on Cuba when Cuba's saying that's not how it works. Every citizen is allowed to come back to their country.
Really? That's what you think it is in Cuba?
Hold on. So we must build facilities that these same ungrateful people are going to burn down, and we're going to have to replace. Sandra, do you know the amount of money that we spend on Cuban refugees here. And don't get me wrong, they're not all bad people.
We need to. The first thing we need to do is understand exactly where the money is spent. I'm not here to defend Cuban nationals.
You defend
Let
foolishness.
me explain. No, I do not. I'm a Caymanian first and foremost, and I do not defend foolishness from us, Cubans, or anybody else for that matter. But what I'm trying to explain to people need to understand what the steps are, how the procedure works, and what is actually going on before you can make any comments on what our government should and shouldn't be doing and why are we building a detention center. Now, you say that these people have no rights, right? Because they have landed in this country illegally. Do you actually think...
Hold on. Stop. Sandra, they want the right to work because they landed
I'm
here?
not talking about that. No. You said they have no rights. You didn't say they don't have a right to work. You said they have no rights. So I need you to clarify, when you say that they have no rights, what do you mean? Because our government has a legal obligation to go through particular steps with these people. And when they're in our custody, we have to house them in an appropriate facility.
Okay, here's a solution. Dear UK Foreign Office, we in Cayman are being inundated with Cuban nationals. We do not have the resources, the expertise, and the facilities to house them. I understand that you're making arrangements to send your economic migrants to another jurisdiction in order to help them. Please help us move these people on. If the UK government can come up with a solution of sending people to Rwanda, which don't make no sense to me, but they have a solution, a proposed solution in place, since we're now following the edict and the mother country and the decisions that they do, why can't we just own up to the fact that the Cayman Islands government, the people of the Cayman Islands, and the Cayman Islands taxpayer cannot facilitate the hordes of refugees that will wash up on our shores? We just can't. It's a practical thing. It isn't about being mean-spirited. We have our own multi-generational Caymanians that are living in worse conditions than any video that you showed this week on CMR. If we're going to care about the Cuban nationals, for the love of sweet baby Jesus, help us love and care for our own people first, because I can take you can take you can take them. They know. But what has happened is we're falling for a scam being put on by people that are looking for an easier, better life, and they find it in the land of milk and honey in Cayman. Nobody that is not born and bred in the Cayman Islands of Caymanian stock has the intention of leaving Cayman. None. I don't care if you're from Cuba, England, Canada, South Africa, the moon. They never leave. And then what happens? Everything about Cayman becomes smaller, and everything about Caymanians becomes smaller. And then you're having Caymanians are not aggressive people. Can you imagine if we were to protest?
Johan,
if we were to
let me ask you a question. Right? You've said that the UK has passed this Rwanda bill.
They're proposing to do so. My point is,
we need to explain to the people exactly where. I mean, have they sent anybody to Rwanda yet?
Yeah, cool. Go ahead.
What legal challenges have the bill had? It's great for a politician, and I don't care if he's Rizak, Shujak, whatever the hell his name is. The British Prime Minister gets up and has these politically motivated comments about what they're going to do with migrants. That's fine. That's what politicians do. But let me ask you in real terms, has it been done?
Whether it's been done,
okay. So let us not put our faith in something that has not even been done. They passed the bill. They've not done it, and they're facing numerous challenges. In November of 2023, the UK Supreme Court ruled that unanimously that the Rwanda scheme was unlawful. Tell me again, which Rwanda Cayman can be using if their own government has said that it's unlawful?
I don't care where they go.
That's not the point. Pick political sense from nonsense. Politicians also always have an ulterior motive for the things that they say and the things that they do.
Sandra, when you
if it can't even be implemented, what sense does that make? They're not sending nobody to Rwanda yet.
Sandra, when you allow people to acquire the rights of political asylum and stay here, you know what then happens? They then join the queue of social services and NAU because
Let me ask you a question then, Johan. Let me ask you a question.
Listen, hold on. Let me just say this first. Can I just say this?
Mm-hmm.
I am pro-Caymanian to the bone. I care about my people and my country first. This is not about not liking anybody else. This is about being pro-Caymanian and looking out for us, because you then have to school them, you have to feed them, you have to give them health care. We already have issues where our own people are struggling.
Yeah.
And you or anybody else cannot convince me that importing poverty.
Let me ask you. Well, we import. Listen, we import far more poverty by way of work permits every single day. But hold on. Let's back up now. Because you remember I started out this conversation saying how Caymanians operate out of both sides of their mouths. Okay. So y'all are upset that the government has announced it has to spend $2 million on building a proper detention facility, which, by the way,
for them to burn it down.
By the way, which means that they're not going to be able to scale a fence like what they do now, right? They will be housed in a facility that's more secure, which means the people of the Cayman Islands are also going to be more secure. Because at that point, we have no clue who those individuals are at all. A lot of them show up with no documentation. So you're saying that the current position of housing them next to Fairbanks is a viable position and that works for the people of the Cayman Islands. It doesn't even make any sense.
My solution is
it is not safe. As you can see, they can quickly leave that facility anytime they're motivated to do so. And people on our streets are potentially at risk. But that detention center is okay?
Sandra, if they're not prepared to follow the rules that have been given to them by the authorities,
that's not the point. It's not about what they're prepared to do.
The point.
It is a detention center should be secure. And the current detention center does not meet the standards. It's not even secure. So when you say that you're pro, they can leave anytime they want, apparently. When you say that you're pro-Caymanian, shouldn't your concern be to ensure that our Caymanians are safe from migrants roaming the streets who haven't been cleared to go into a facility as yet?
Any migrant that is roaming the streets that is in contraventions of the rules and the laws and instructions they've been given is not worthy of staying in the country. And they
I don't think you understand. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying.
Sandra, my command of English is really strong. I think I'm of above average intelligence.
So,
I completely get it.
So if your command of English is strong, the detention center has to be a secure facility. And I'm telling you that it's not a secure facility. So you don't think a secure facility should be built?
You know what's secure? An airplane sending them back to Cuba, to Havana. That's secure.
Right. And our government does that when they can.
Make it quicker. Do it faster.
All right. Thank you. Folks, if y'all are not getting to listen to the process and what happens, there's only so much that I can do. All of us are saying the process should be quicker, but there's a number of reasons why it is not. And some of those factors are outside of our control as a people. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Auntie Sandy. It's me again.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Yep, I just calling to support my friend there, Rohan.
Mm-hmm.
He's 150% right with what he's saying. The thing is, we're not supposed to be billing anything for these people.
What do you mean building it for them? I think this is where you guys are misguided. We're not building it for them. We're building it for ourselves.
No, that's how we building it for ourselves. Either Caymanian gonna go there. Listen, just hear him out. Right? The problem is we got an incompetent government that can't deal with the situation.
Well, we don't have no argument there.
And if I got get arrested saying this today, is the governor too that needs to step in, and the foreign and commonwealth, which is a bunch of hypocrites. Because if it's a lot of things that they do in England, in the UK, that we could follow here that is good, and we don't do it. So they're following the bad now that UK is doing. It's a whole heap of hypocrisy behind this thing. Listen, first of all, they're not supposed to land, right? They're landing without papers, and they're landing illegally in sea or wherever come. So they could be stopped by border control from landing, because if a boat come from Honduras or Jamaica and a place else illegally, they could say, well, we Cubans, how you got know where they're from if they're not gonna pass? But well, they could be from anywhere.
So one second, Mr. Dean, 1 second. That is precisely why, and this is why we gotta break this down. That is precisely why the Cuban government in 24 hours you can't be sending them back to Cuba, because that's the Cuban government's point. They're like, how the hell we know that they're Cubans?
I understand. So why are we catering to them is my point exactly.
What do you mean catering to them? While they're here waiting to be dealt with.
We not letting them land here. We not letting them land here.
They're illegal
and pampering them and everything.
Mr. Dean, they're illegal migrants for a reason.
They are illegal, so that's the point.
That's not. We're not making them land here. They are landing here.
They're not landing here.
No, I said
we're making them land here because we intercept them. We intercept them when they come here. When they come here, we don't. Our border control don't intercept them.
No.
So
they're coming up, as you can see from the footage and the video and stuff. Even from the last one the other day, they are landing, coming up to dock in Cayman Brac. So no, we're not going out in international waters and pulling them in. That is not what's happening.
No, but with paper, I know that, but they're coming in with paperwork then, and they got permission. They got permission to land, like how any other vessel that come into this island come in. I know. I'm just bringing that out of the open. I know. But that's the problem. We have to. We could stop them. Well, listen here. It just takes common sense and a bit of wit about our government. They need to get a media with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office or the UN and say, put their case down, lay the case down, be men about it. We're not hearing neither one of these politicians talking about it. It's no good to say, well, okay, like what was saying the other day, you got shit in your hand, you just gonna look at the shit and expect it to go away. Or just put a little perfume on the shit. No, you gotta wash it off good because it got sprayed and it got get stinker. So this is the same thing now that is going on with them. They need to get a media with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office or the UN and say, listen, this is the case with this thing, and we're not accepting it, regardless of what England said.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Dean. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. The UK is well aware of what our predicament is. This isn't a situation of the UK not knowing. And you know what the governor's office said this week? When I questioned them about the housing conditions and certain things, your government is taking care of it. That's a matter for your government. We not got nothing to do with that.
Okay. So it's a matter for our government too, for them to come in there. What he named Sonak now build him a hotel up there in the States, up there in the UK. He built him a hotel to house migrants. So we gonna build him a hotel here too. It's a whole heap of hypocrisy around it. Who gonna get the contracts to build those stuff? Material going. Who gonna deal with all the material? All that money got spent and be capitalized on the people just to say, well, we building this and we doing the right thing for the people. Security guards to stand up there all day doing nothing. What a security guard gonna do if one of them prisoners want retaliate? You tell me what they gonna do. That is why we need a secure detention facility. All right, leave me there. We got some other callers trying to come get on. Be here. That's why they don't have to be here. You can't stop. Okay. All right, let's take some other calls. Listen, I just want to say something. So you just say a secure facility. So who gonna be at this secure facility? Any illegal migrants that come in. No, but security guards can be there, right? Just like how there is at the other place there, no? Right? Yeah, but that facility was not built. All right. What are they gonna do? All right, leave us there, caller. Leave us there. The point is,
the current place where they are being housed was never even meant to house people. So of course it's not secure. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I think I figured out why your callers are having a difficulty understanding you.
Oh, you have?
If I look at the video stream, I could see that your camera needs to pan a little bit to what would be your left, so that we could see your law degree on the wall. It's not there.
Oh my God. How did we miss that we have certain obligations both procedurally and legally? I mean, they shouldn't be here at all. That would be an ideal world. I'm not disagreeing with Mr. Dean. I'm not disagreeing with Johan that it would be perfect if we never had a single illegal migrant come to our shores. But that is not the real world. And the real world, which is what I'm living in, does not allow us to put somebody, especially Cuban migrants in particular, back on a plane and send them back within 24 hours. If it did, you better believe our government would be doing so.
Right. We find ourselves in a very difficult situation. But what Johan is saying about what the UK's policies are, we actually have some support in legislation, UK legislation, for taking a position or making the argument that he's making. And that is Section 31, subsection 3 of the Constitution order. And it says, in the exercise of his or her functions under subsection 2, the governor shall endeavor to promote good governance and to act in the best interests of the Cayman Islands, so far as such interests are consistent with the interests of the United Kingdom. So if the United Kingdom is pushing a policy of a certain sort, it's reasonable for us to ask, if that works for us, that they allow us to be able to address matters in that way too. But I don't think that's what they're going to do, because that section there is for their own selfish purposes. And the other point that I want to make about that provision is that people need to really appreciate that when the governor comes on to CMR and tells us that the responsibility for local legislation has been devolved to the local government, we need to take that with a grain of salt, because it's always when it works for them. And what it also means is that we're not an independent country, like you have rightly said. And so from a legal perspective, Caymanians are thinking, well, I want to do this. And they also want to be colony at the same time. And they're not understanding that being the colony puts a constraint on your desires. Your desires might be right. Your desires might be beneficial to the Cayman Islands. But if you're not able to do so lawfully, then you can't do it.
Right.
No matter how.
And that's the point. I mean, Denny, that's the point that I'm trying to get across here, right? We are all of a singular mindset in terms of what we think the process should be and what we would love to happen. I'm in agreement that Cayman can't have open borders. How many times have I said this? And just let any and everybody in. That isn't what we are disagreeing about here this morning.
Yeah.
Our people need to have an understanding of the process and know exactly what we can and can't do at what stages of this process. And to just unequivocally say that these people land on our shores and they have zero rights is not correct.
That is, you are correct that it's incorrect to say they have zero rights.
And so I can't sit here in good conscience and fool the people of the Cayman Islands into believing a particular narrative, although rest assured that it would be a popular narrative for me to get behind, I cannot do so in any kind of conscience, like you said, in part because that law degree is on the wall, and in part because one of the things that I try to do through this platform is give people accurate information.
Yeah.
So if I tell you, we don't have the political willpower to just put them back on a plane and that's what we should be doing. It's not that simple.
It isn't that simple. And let's elaborate a little bit more on rights. When you say that someone doesn't have rights, a prisoner doesn't have rights, that's inaccurate.
Of course they have rights.
What the prisoner doesn't have is the right of freedom of movement.
Right.
But they retain all their other rights.
They may lose some, like the right to vote. There's some things in law that they may lose, but they have rights. Right. That's the same thing they talk about at Northwood Prison, right? If they have electrical issues, somebody mentioned the 2011 report from the UK that said Northwood Prison is a cesspool. It's a shit show. Yeah. One of these days, one of those prisoners something's going to happen to them and they're going to sue the bejeezers out of us.
And then the people are going to think, well, they shouldn't be able to do that.
Yes. And it's the same thing with the Cubans. If there's a fire that breaks out at that facility and 10, 15, 20 of those Cubans lose their lives because they can't get out of the Bodden Town Civic Center because of what the government has allowed to go on there, and they know that what's going on there. If you, the people of the Cayman Islands, do not know and understand and believe that we would be sued, and international bodies all over the world, human rights bodies, would be having the most to say about us, you are kidding yourselves.
That's right. And one more point on this. The best way for us to move forward on these types of issues is to understand that we shouldn't be tolerating lawlessness in society, because all it does is complicate life, make everything more expensive, make life miserable, on and on and on. So the better we can deal with these issues, we will be avoiding problems. To follow some of the advice that I hear expressed on your show won't end well. And I hope, now I wish that we could come to some diplomatic agreement between Cuba and the Cayman Islands so that this process can be expedited. But you just can't simply pick people up, put them on that's free people.
And let me also explain very, very carefully. We do have some other callers, Denny, so I'm going to let you go. What Jamaica did the other day, right? Between, I think it was Thursday when they landed and Tuesday when they put them back on the plane and sent them off. That happened as quickly as it did with the cooperation of the government of India. We don't have that level of cooperation with Cuba. Thanks, Denny.
All right, take care.
Good. Good morning, caller. I think I grabbed it. Hold on.
Me?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, hi, caller.
Hey.
Yes.
Hi. Good morning.
Morning.
No, I just wanted to come in and support, your position, because you're absolutely right. I mean, I understand the frustrations that people like Johan and have. Support.
Hold on one second. Caller, can you turn down your radio in the background? Okay. Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I just wanted to support. I mean, I understand their frustrations, but, you can't miss the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's so many benefits to having a detention center. And I mean, while people think that the money can be better utilized elsewhere, I mean, what a detention center will do is that it will help streamline the immigration process.
Yes.
It'll, fit in all legal compliance.
And there should be a proper detention center, even for our own good. You can't sit here this morning and tell me that you're pro-Caymanian and you don't think that we should have a proper detention center.
And that's the other thing too. I mean, it's also for the security of the Caymanian people. We're protecting a vulnerable population. Mm-hmm. Detention centers, they can protect vulnerable populations among the migrants. You can have victims of human trafficking. You have minors, those fleeing persecution. By providing a controlled environment while their cases are being processed, that's the thing. And about this security and safety thing, right? I lost my train of thought. And it'll come back to me. If it don't come back to me, doesn't. But Johan said something about unless they have some sort of persecution or
And how would you ascertain that in 24 hours to send people back?
Exactly. But my question to people like Johan and them is, all right, well, we do know of cases of people right here in the Caribbean that flee to places like the United States, like Mexico, like the Cayman Islands, like England, for persecution on religious matters. Here's a big one: sexual orientation. What is he going to say then? What are people like him going to say then? Right.
The point is, right, Cuba is a different cup of tea because they are a communist country. That is why every country in the world has a different policy when it comes to Cuba versus Haiti, India, or any other country, because they are one of the few remaining communist regimes in the world. And there are certain things that every country has put in place in terms of legislation and policy specific to Cuba. Okay?
And one more, now I remember what I was going to say. And one more benefit. For those who seek asylum and they've been properly processed, a detention center would also serve as a sort of training and can offer training and integration programs. Do they have that now at the where it is now? I don't think that they do. Right?
All right, caller. Thank you.
Just going my 2 cents worth.
Yes, sir. We have another call on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning, dear.
How are you?
Not bad. How you doing?
Good. I really sometimes, like you say, our Caymanian people, they're such a perfect nation according to them, and we're so lost. The first Bible tells us that let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for they say sometimes those that you entertain unaware is good people. And in our society, we have Cubans that is doctors and nurses, and we took them in, and we want the good out of the bad all the time, and it's okay. But the problem is they're human beings, first of all. That's the most important things. And they should be treated as humans, right? We would want to, if Cayman was not in the position, and there was a time that Cayman wasn't, how would we feel when we used to go to countries? Like we lived in Cuba, Nicaragua, Bluefield is where my ancestors come from, and Jamaica, and all of these places, looking for a better life. We Caymanians today is blessed because of places that our forefathers been and was able to send home money, provisions, and so forth. Now we go on with a little country that have no products. Everything comes into our islands. We actually buy everything from different places, right? We don't have anything there. God has been so good to us, not having anything to come up in life, the standards above those that have so much more. Let us be careful how we treat God's people, because they are God's people also, just like we are. I agree with you. We need a facility that can house them, because some of these is kids, like the man say. Are we so evil and cruel that we don't care if they out on the sea for the sharks to eat them? For them to die? Are we that cruel? We can give them a chance. And yes, like you said, because Cuba is a communist country, communication is a blockage right there. It takes time for the process. Could we not at least provide for them for that amount of time? How many of these that is on the radio, their parents is Cubans or their ancestors and from Nicaragua and America and Canada, all over the place. The same ones. I hear them and some of them. I know their parents. How dare you? Would you want that for your parents when they had arrived here? My parents born here, both of them, but my ancestors is down. It's not Caymanians. Some is Black Cubans and some is Nicaraguans, right? I don't know where the rest of them, because we were doing a family of 3 and we found out. So the truth is, we all one people at the end of the day. We all God's people at the end of the day. Yes, Cayman is small, but if we kind, I believe that God will provide all of these things for us in a sense. Yeah, and these same people, some of these is doctors, some of these is nurses.
And let me say this, because the point that I've always made, caller, and this is important, a lot of people saying to please give you a kaboom. Let me say this, right? We have always maintained our position that our seamen, we did it the right way. We did it the legal way. They came here, they recruited Caymanians. They told us what paperwork you needed. You came with your passport. They got you the relevant, immigration status to be able to get on these boats and travel all over the world. Yes, we went to Honduras. We went to Nicaragua. We went to Cuba. We went to all these different places. We did so legally. That's 1,000% accurate. But also remember that our position was not one in which we were fleeing from anything other than an economically depressed situation. That's an important distinction here to make. Now, I believe
it is
that the vast majority of Cubans are also fleeing from an economically depressed situation. And they're not political. By definition, they're not going to meet the standards of being a political refugee. But even so, once they land on our shores, I'm going to invite you all to go and look at this UK document. It's available on the committee's page of parliament.uk, and it talks about written evidence from the Cayman Islands Human Rights Commission. You guys need to read what they have said about our prisons, areas of concern, immigration and refugees, equality in the LGBTQ plus community, lawful administrative action. We do not have the right to ignore our international obligations when it comes to human rights. And that is what I'm hearing some people saying this morning. And I want to make it very, very clear. You're entitled to your opinion.
Everybody is.
You can think whatever you want, for sure, about Cubans, Jamaicans, and this one and that one, even our prisoners at Northwood Prison. But your thought processes cannot dictate that our government takes a particular action that goes against human rights. That's the difference. And the conversation that I'm trying to have this morning is to remind all of you of what those obligations are.
Sandy, listen, those people got to realize back when our forefathers went into other people's country and they got proper paperwork. I could go to the glass house before, the passport office before, and just say that I, for whoever I for, one birth paper, and I could get a passport.
Oh, yeah.
Has not the process gone to sometime all 3 months now? The world has grown and situations change. And it was easier then because, you could just go one birth paper, they probably process you, and in a week or 2 months, you're gone. This is 2 years now, or a year we're talking about with people's life. Things have changed. And we got to understand, and sometimes desperation make people do. Doesn't mean it's right. They do the things desperately. And they don't know sometimes that they're going to land in the Cayman Islands. They're leaving to just leave Cuba. They probably don't really care. The Holy Grail, I suppose, is if they make it to the United States of America. But wherever they go, we've seen them go into other jurisdictions. We've seen them go into Honduras and other places, even Mexico. As crazy as Mexico is with their gang activities, Cuban nationals feel taking that chance is better for them than staying in Cuba. Even in Jamaica, there's so many of them in Jamaica. And the next thing, a lot of these Caymanians, they go Cuba look at them all the time, but they're the same one looking out against them. Oh, they don't want the Cubans there, but they leave home and they go on and they pick up the Cubans. Yeah. So, we need.
Honey child, now you're telling too much truth about how my them be on that flight with a bag full of condoms for a weekend in Cuba. Try hush.
Thank you. Okay.
So they're good enough. They're good enough for the boning, but not for the refugee status. What a hot mess.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear.
You have a good weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So when I talk about the duplicity of our people, right? I want to bring to your attention this post that went up on, this would have been what day now? 2 days ago. So I guess today is Friday. That must have been Wednesday afternoon, where somebody wrote in and talked about, let me show y'all the screen now. Hold on one second. Somebody wrote in and talked about this guy who was on our waterfront with his suitcases, bags, the baby stroller, all this kind of stuff. Somebody wrote in about that. And they said, Sandy, basically that this makes us look bad. So the person said, dear Sandy, this here is why we do not want Cubans in Cayman, right? Goes on to say, imagine getting evicted from your apartment this weekend and then setting up shop on port property first thing this morning. When he was asked to leave, he then went across the street by Kirk Freeport, the wife and the baby. Imagine, please, we need to ensure that these people can actually work and want to work and not freeload off the government. Maybe instead of protesting, this one needs to get to work and sort out his life. Let him leave and go to Miami. We can simply, we can supply the one-way ticket. Now, let me be very, very clear. This situation here, okay? This person that you see here is a refugee. He has been granted political asylum. Yes? And the comments from the people, somebody sent in this photo with those comments. The comments from the people, oh, you guys are inhumane. You're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. He's no longer a Cuban migrant. There is a difference between the two. He has refugee status. He can work. Why he won't get a job or why he can't keep a job, only God knows. We had a caller yesterday call into this program and said that he was evicted because of his stinking attitude and his disrespect from a place where he was getting free rent. I don't know. I'm just telling y'all what the caller said. And look at the comments. Oh, Lord, where is humanity in some of us? Right? Y'all went on and on and on and on and on and on. So let me ask you a question. Why does this situation, which makes us look very bad, he has refugee status, he can go out there and get a job. He's in a much better position than all the other Cubans who have not yet been granted refugee status. The ones who are going to be put in this detention center, he has more rights and more freedoms and more opportunities than them. But here you all are, Caymanians, talking out of both sides of your mouths. That's our national pastime, apparently, right? Defending this display. This ain't got nothing to do, really, with him being Cuban, because we posted from other people in the community similar things about Caymanians. Why are Caymanians sitting out on the waterfront begging? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? We have posted those same sorts of things. And y'all get up in your feelings about that, but yet this morning you're singing a totally different song and dance. Please explain it to me. Because I don't understand what is wrong with our people. Irvin says because his attitude stinks. Everybody knows that this particular Cuban has an attitude problem. And it's not, unheard of that he would be evicted from his place. Y'all need to start speaking some sense and speak it consistently. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Not bad. How are you?
I just want to ask one question and you can answer me back and I'll hang up. Mm-hmm. But before I say that, me and you got to go to Flo and make them give you a free line, because I work on a long time. We can't get through because, so we got to get Flo to give us a free line.
Flo don't want to give us no toll-free number. I keep telling them I'll pay for the toll-free number, That's not even the problem. We'll pay for it and I still can't get it. El Ray, you need to tell your Flo people, just make me pay for the number. I can't be bothered with Flo. I'm happy to pay for it.
Election time right around the corner, man. You get anything you want, man.
No. Listen, I don't need no handouts. I'm happy to pay for the number. But I think the problem is that unfortunately, if we pay for the number is going to change. But you know what? So what? It gonna have to change. I agree with you. It's ridiculous that we in 2 years now can't get a toll-free number. Go on, Paula.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me say something.
Yes.
I want to know where or do we are we supposed to have a governor? I have not heard the governor come out and say anything. I don't know. Do we have a governor? Is the governor on the island?
She not saying nothing. She said this is a matter for the people of the Cayman Islands, their government to sort this out. I contacted the governor's office and they sent me an official response yesterday.
What? But what
is she gonna say? This is what I'm telling you. The procedure and the law is already in place.
She down on the beach relaxing, but I mean, all these things that happen.
She can tell y'all to follow the law, and you have international obligations. You must follow your international obligations. That is what she's going to tell us.
So she's on a vacation here then for 4 years, or could be 8.
She can tell you to follow what you're supposed to be doing.
Anyhow, son, that's all I want to know, because I don't think we have no governor here. And where's the deputy governor and all this?
Well, he can say the same thing. You have international obligations, and the people need to be educated. All right, let's look at what the international obligations are, honey child. Thank you.
Just come out and make the people of the island know what's going on.
Well, I'm trying to make y'all know, but y'all don't want to accept the facts for the facts, apparently.
No, I'm not talking about you. I talking about her.
She's not gonna tell you nothing different. Thank you, honey child. 936-2626. Yes, we've been trying to beat this toll-free number thing to the bones and all now. So listen to me, right? This is someone, I see someone said his wife works Tuca in East End. The wife has a job. So she could find time to go out there, stand up on the side of the street with him. You better get your ass to work. Let me be very, very, very clear with you. Okay? Let me be, I want to be crystal clear. I'm not one of those Caymanians that's going to speak out of both sides of my mouth. You come here as a Cuban national, you've been given refugee status. Good for you. You're one of a select few. Let me be very, very crystal clear. Now you're like the rest of us. Get off of your fucking ass and get to work. That's what the rest of us have to do. You think there are days that I don't feel like working? Get up and get to work. Be a law-abiding citizen and do what you have to do. That's how the rest of us survive. I don't know what you're used to from in Cuba, but you don't stand up at the side of the road holding up a baby and talking about, give me a couple dollars because I got a baby. I got a child too, and I still get up every morning and go to work. You don't get sympathy from us because you're Cuban and lazy. Just like you don't get sympathy from us because you're Caymanian and lazy. Get to work. Find a job. There will be people who will hire you. Instead of you trying to protest every opportunity you get, stand up on the government building, send around pictures about you meeting with the governor, what I would suggest you do is get a fucking job. It's as simple as that. Now.
Hello?
Yes, caller.
Yeah, morning. I just got another quick question. You know what happened to that guy? He's not out there no more, so you know what the situation is with him.
I don't know.
If you could find out.
Here's the thing, caller, right? Some people you don't want to give attention to because that's exactly what they're looking for. Don't forget, folks, we're not on radio. So no, some are like, oh my God, Sandy said get your ass to work. We're not on radio this morning, so y'all will be fine.
Yeah, but it's not matter about giving them attention. It's a matter of national importance. That's all of it. I'm a man. I don't think that I talking out of both sides of my mouth.
You think it's of national importance that we know where he is this morning? Because he's no longer in our waterfront?
Because this concerns the Cayman Islands and the people that they're giving political asylum to. So this is the same thing. They're giving people political asylum that can't survive in the country under the same situation, regardless of his attitude or whatever. We got enough of those Caymanians here in that. So why are they giving these people or anybody political asylum when they shouldn't be given a political asylum because it isn't in a room to bring in more people in there.
Hello, caller.
Especially with that stupid attitude.
Let me explain this to you now. The granting of political asylum is based on very narrow conditions. That doesn't have anything to do, and I don't even think they can take it into consideration whether or not this person is employable, whether or not they speak English. Those are not the criteria for political asylum. That's a whole other discussion.
Stan, you say that there's a whole lot of discussion, and I got my point of view on that. And that's the same thing I'm saying. We shouldn't be dealing with these people all together. Tell me something. If somebody, like what we're trying to say just now, I guess I could continue depending on anybody else on that.
Well, no, caller, because I do want to read this document here and what the UK's position is, because there's some people asking.
I'm not going to elaborate on it no more, but I stand where I stand, and I don't talk out the two sides of my mouth.
That's
bad
fine.
The way that they're living. It's bad the way that they're living,
yes.
The condition that they're living in on this island. But first and foremost, we shouldn't have them here. And don't tell me about
I can agree. Listen to me. I can agree with you with all of that, and I am still going to tell you what the legal position is this morning.
Yeah, but that's a whole heap of foolishness. That's a lie.
Well, you can say it's a whole heap of foolishness, but that's what the Cayman Islands has to follow.
No, that's a lie. They're not gonna follow that. This thing that they're gonna follow that. They're not gonna follow that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not gonna follow that.
All right. Y'all can't deny. In what reality do we get to the point where we're denying facts? Hold on. Let's see if the deputy governor is available this morning. Don't worry, folks. We're not on air. Some of y'all are like, oh my God, Sandy said a curse word. We're not on the radio. Don't worry. I know we're not on the radio, honey chill. The person said, you said, get your fucking ass to work, to be fair. That was your quote. Oh, honey chillin'. Y'all need to behave. All right. Be another caller. No, we can't get a hold of him. He's busy doing some work, I guess. Let's call another caller. And now we're going to look at what the position is in law. Y'all can't say that we don't have to follow these things and we can ignore our legal obligations. We need to have some serious civics courses around the place. I'm not sure where y'all gets this from. I'm going to share this document with you guys. Morning, caller.
Morning, I decided to answer that caller's question, the last caller that is calling. Yes, I called Mr. Kenneth Bryan and got the person removed off the Georgetown port because it was being a disgrace to the Cayman Islands.
Good. And none of us as Caymanians have any problem with that. Okay? That's perfect. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And anybody else who wants to go out on our public streets, whether they Caymanians or not, you're a disgrace showing up like that. Come off the streets. There are other ways that you can get assistance instead of sitting with suitcases full of luggage and a baby stroller and whatever. People like that are just trying to get attention. They're just trying to make a point. And we're not going to have it on our streets. And quite frankly, I don't give two cahoots whether you're Caymanian, whether you're Jamaican, or whether you're Cuban. Come off of our streets with that foolishness. Let's have a look at this document from the UK. And again, I'm happy to share the link here in the discussion segment. If you want it personally, send it to me. So it talks about written evidence from the Cayman Islands Human Rights Commission, OTS 0134. In line with its constitutional mandate, the commission focuses the submission on the governance of the Cayman Islands, especially adherence to human rights as protected within Cayman's own constitution and under various international human rights instruments extended to the Cayman Islands. Let me pause there. One of the reasons why we have to do certain things to Cubans or with Cuban migrants is because there are human rights instruments extended to us. You know what that means? That in law, There are things that come via way the UK that they have signed on to that we have to follow. We're not an independent country. So Johan can sit back, and we played the clip here. Oh, look at the UK. They've taken this position. They're going to send people to Rwanda. But guess what? If y'all don't understand that they don't play by the same rules that we have to adhere to and we have to abide to, and in fact, there are some rules that they play by. To be fair, there's certain things that they cannot do. Go look at UK policy. Go and read what they have to say about how they work with the Cuban government. Dealing with a wide range of political, commercial, security, and economic questions of interest for both countries. Increasing bilateral trade, reducing the threat of organized crime, support improvements in human rights. Go and read those documents for yourself. Read the 44th Universal Periodic Review of Human Rights, a UK statement on Cuba. Don't come on this show talking foolishness when you do not understand the international obligations that we have by way of the UK government. And the UK government has themselves. The only difference between us and the UK government is Cuba is right, yes, so we're the ones getting the migrants. It's near impossible for them to get to the UK. They can't paddle their little boats all the way to the UK. So the UK doesn't have to deal with them coming on their shores as we do. Yes? Go and have a look at the visit in November of 2023. Where you had the Minister for the Americas and the Caribbean, David Rutley MP, visiting Cuba, where he signed a new political dialogue and cooperation agreement, PDCA, between the UK and Cuba. He met with their foreign minister. The UN National Development Plan, the World Food Group, UNICEF. Met with local entrepreneurs. He was quoted as saying, as part of her commitment to strengthening the UK-Cuba relationship, I look forward to signing a political dialogue and cooperation agreement that will see us engage in issues important to both sides, such as human rights and the embargo. All right. Listen very, very carefully. This is our position. Let's go to the section that talks about immigration and refugees. They talk about prison or substandard prison conditions, overcrowding. They did a whole section on that. Let's get to immigration. Due to Cayman's geographical position, significant numbers of migrants arrive here by boat from Cuba. Invariably, Cayman is not their final destination, as migrants are seeking to travel to Central America and then on to the United States. However, once in Cayman, whether ashore or in territorial waters, a number of human rights concerns arise. Cuban migrants arriving in Cayman are either allowed to continue their journeys or permitted to land and proceed in accordance with a memorandum of understanding signed between the Cayman Islands government and the Cuban government. Both situations raise human rights concerns. In the former, these are particularly significant. Let me see if we can find a copy of this memorandum that we have signed with the Cuban government. All Caymanians should be well versed in what this document says. Let me see here now. Because it occurs to me that our people are so ill-informed, or politicians are so ill-informed, or wannabe politicians are so ill-informed that they often jump up and say certain things that are nonsensical, that don't make no sense. If the law can't support what you're saying, let me be very, very clear. You're just saying it to gain political favor with people, because ignorance is a big issue in this country. And the more we operate from a misinformed position, just because something sounds good. You know how popular I would be here this morning if I was saying to you, let's put all them damn Cubans on that flight and get them fucking asses out of here. We don't want them no more. That sounds great. Yeah, Sandy, for premiere, y'all be saying, go Sandy, we can do this. But what do I get out of misguiding you, the people? You have to know what the obligations are, what the positions are. This ain't nothing new, by the way. Let me show y'all a document you should read, you should have a look at. Have a look at this one. 2013 report on Cuban migrants, a review of policy, legislation, and practice from the Cayman Islands Human Rights Commission. I want every single person who claims that they intend to run for public office and who has an opinion on this Cuban situation to please go and read this document and educate yourselves. Yes? Let's do a quick review for those of you who don't like to read, because God knows it's a struggle. Illegal migration talks about, yes, every country is dealing with it. Cayman, no different. We should not facilitate irregular migration, and there is an obligation to balance migrant control with ensuring fair and appropriate asylum processes. The Cayman Islands does not support or condone illegal migration. So, to the person's point earlier, like, we allow them to come here. No, we're not. Our policy, very, very clearly, is we do not support or condone illegal migration. It is one of the reasons why we cannot give them food, water, fix up their boat for them to make it to the United States of America. Because that would be seen as condoning and supporting illegal migration into somebody else's country. And it cannot be allowed. This intention is embodied in the Memorandum of Understanding between the Cayman Islands and the Republic of Cuba, accompanied by the internal guidelines of July 2008 and local immigration laws. I'm still looking for a copy of this memorandum. I'm going to ask for a copy of it from the Cayman Islands government and see, because I'm sure it probably has been amended maybe since 2013. I'm not sure. See if we can't get a copy of it to see exactly what it says. Yes? Shouldn't be that difficult, to be honest, but as you know, finding any kind of document is challenging. So a quick look says that we signed a new one in 2015. So this is a 2013 document here, but we signed a new one in 2013. Oh, no, I don't see a copy of it, but let me see here. So Deputy Governor Frans Manderson has signed a new memorandum of understanding. This was April in 2015. Talking about the significant rise in the number of Cubans leaving their country, hoping ultimately to reach the United States. For the third round of migration talks between CIG and Cuba this week, a delegation from the neighboring island, led by Ambassador Rafael Dusa Cespedes, Director of Consular Affairs and Cuban residents abroad, came to Cayman. It ended after 2 days with the new MOU. The document, which has not been released, you see, this now is the type of foolishness that I speak on. Why can't we get a copy of this document? What's in the document? Well, they provide us with a description. Was described as outlining a more efficient repatriation process for irregular Cuban migrants. Officials said that the two countries have also agreed on an annual review of the operation and effectiveness of the MAU. So the migrants who choose to land in Cayman in accordance with the MAU face repatriation, but over the last year, there have been problems sending Cubans back, and the Immigration Detention Center at Fairbanks, which is now being managed by the prison, reached maximum capacity on a number of occasions. This was back in 2015. These issues are nothing new. So while the government is patting itself on the back and saying, oh, kudos, here we are 2024, saying that we're finally going to get a facility, a new detention facility, but we're allocating money for it. Only God knows how long it take to build. All the way back in 2015, we were talking about the same issues. This is where I have a problem with governments not moving the needle forward. So this was the PPM government. I noticed with some of you in the comment section on this post about, this money finally being allocated. Oh, PPM, please come and show your problems. Try and shut up. There's no difference between PPM, PAT government, UDP. Not a single one of them is any different. They all lack cojones. They all move like a sloth when it comes to getting things done. If we knew from 2015 that the facility was already at the brim, and now because of COVID and the economic streams of COVID and the protesting in Cuba and all that kind of stuff, of course the numbers have increased. So ask yourselves a very important question. Why is this now just being addressed? You know what construction costs have done since 2015? Now some almost 10 years later to 2025, almost 2025, because they're not going to start no construction this year. It's escalated. And more Cubans are coming ashore than ever before. So almost 10 years ago, this government knew that it needed a proper detention facility. When I say this government, let me be clear. All governments since 2015. Okay. Goes on to say, this article from 2015, there's been a number of disturbances, including a near riot, breakouts with several Cubans still missing following the most recent escape earlier this month. We've had them leave Cayman and go to other jurisdictions, and we don't even know until they show up in Honduras and elsewhere, and they go, all of a sudden they're on the news over there going, yes, we were in the Cayman Islands and we were being mistreated and blah, blah, blah. But yet y'all can get on the phone with me today and talk about how we don't need a proper detention center. Why are we wasting money on a proper detention center? Wow. The same way they could get out and get on a boat and go to Honduras, steal boats, by the way, right? Sometimes they purchase boats to be able to leave here. Heaven forbid that one day one of them is some kind of nut serial killer, a child molester, and breaks into your fucking house and molests you or kill you and your children. Then y'all will be in an uproar about why didn't we ever have a proper detention center? Really? It is not just because it is the humane thing to do for them or anybody in detention, because it might not even be then. We've had other people land illegally from other places in the world. To have a proper detention center whilst they're at that stage in the process. But it also protects the community until we have some sense that this person is even who they say that they are. That we have a police record of clearance or something on this individual. I agree with Damien. This is a matter of national security that we should have a proper detention center for migrants. Since 2015. Listen to what this said. Although Cubans have already faced immediate deportation under the old MAU, officials have said that the latest agreement will see the migrants sent back to Havana even quicker with the hope of cutting costs for CIG. The government has been exceeding its budget allocation for dealing with Cuban migrants, and during the last fiscal year spent well over $1.5 million, of public money detaining Cubans awaiting repatriation. Let us be very clear. It's not that our government does not want to repatriate the people, but there are procedures in place that must be followed. And one of the procedures in this MOU, I wish we could get a copy of it, is in fact that we have to be in communication with the government of Cuba and their officials before we repatriate these Cubans. And you know what that means? Let's just be very, very clear here. The Cuban government is not all that motivated to do anything. Not when it comes to migrants. They honestly don't care. And so, yes, there is a trickle-down effect on us as a people. If we message them, we got 10 that just came in. We're going to need some help identifying them, and they take 2 months to respond to that email. What are we going to do? We can't just put them on a plane. We can't just put them on a boat and push them back towards Cuba and say, paddle in that direction and you'll get back to Havana. That's not how it works. And anyone who tries to tell you that that is how it works is playing with your head. And guess what? Auntie Sandy is not into head games, huh? This provides a definition of what a refugee is. These are the types of documents that you people need to be reading. What is a refugee? What's the difference between a refugee and a migrant? 9 out of 10 Caymanians don't have no clue what a refugee is, and they constantly call somebody a refugee when they're not even a refugee. See what this document says? The term refugee has a very specific meaning. A person fleeing a development country to look for a better life elsewhere is not automatically a refugee under international law. To be classified as a refugee, such a person must satisfy the requirements of the 1951 United Nations Convention on Refugees and its subsequent protocol. And within the 1951 Convention on Refugees, there is a definition of what a refugee is. Everybody sees the definition? Y'all paying attention? Oh, Lord, hold on. I've gone too big now. I want to increase the size to make sure y'all can read it for yourselves, right? A person who's outside his or her or country of nationality or habitual residence has a well-founded fear of persecution because of his or her race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion, and is unable or unwilling to avail himself or herself of the protection of that country or to return there for fear or persecution. They go on to say this is a very specific definition. And it is different from someone who is going to a new country because of living conditions or opportunities for jobs as not ideal in their own country. So let's refresh our memories. When we talk about Caymanians going abroad, Caymanians have never fallen into this category. Our people were not political refugees. We were not looking for refugee status. We were something called a transient worker. There's a difference between the two. And throughout histories, there have been transient workers. Yes, people go overseas to work. You can get a work visa of all different kinds, even now in the United States of America. That is different. We have to make sure that we're putting things in the correct context. That's what a refugee is, by definition. All right? Then they talk about the first memorandum of understanding signed between the Cuban government and the Cayman Islands back in 1999. Listen to what it says. So far as the commission is aware, it is the only MOU of its kind entered into by the government of the Cayman Islands. So that is interesting, because what it means is there's no other example for us to follow, really and truly, on how we should handle Cuban migrants and, you know, what sort of things are in the MOU, which we don't know all the details. But this is one of a kind situation. You know what I said earlier? That the situation with Cuba is unique all over the world because of the type of government that Cuba has. Look at some important things here that they go on to talk about. Reviewing the Immigration Detention Center operational manual. We need to get a copy of that. The Cuban Migration Information Form to be completed by migrants. The asylum policy and procedure. Before y'all can sit here and make any comments on this, these are some of the things that you need to understand what they are. These documents set the policy and the procedure that our government has to follow. Yeah. They say that the commission is not in a position to assess how the procedures have been or are being applied in practice, and therefore cannot in this report comment on the adequacy of implementation of these procedures. Well, that's too bad, because that's actually very, very critical. We should know how well the procedures are working, because I think that's where most of us have a question. Who has done an audit? You see back here, at a meeting with the Honorable Deputy Governor back in 2013, the commission agreed that it would look into the possibility of conducting an audit of the procedures for notifying irregular migrants about their rights and for screening any claimant for asylum. It was placed on the commission's agenda for follow-up action. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that we've never heard anything about this audit? Was this another situation where it was placed on the agenda and nobody ever followed through? Nobody ever did anything? Well, you know what we're going to do here today? We're going to reach out to the commission and ask them. They claimed that it was important back in 2013. 10 years have passed. Has it been done? Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Sandy. How are you doing? And good morning to your listeners.
Good morning, my dear. How are you?
Good. I am catching the tail end of the whole conversation. Haven't heard all what has been discussed, and I'm sure you're probably getting ready to close off now. But I just wanted to share, because I have made comments on social media concerning the whole situation of the Cubans and what has taken place over the past couple of weeks, and particularly of recently with the government approving these funds for this detention facility. And I did catch a little bit of what you talked earlier or said earlier regarding the Caymanian people not agreeing with the fact that government has approved these funds for a facility to be built, a proper facility to be built to house the Cubans, etc., and being proactive. And yes, they're far-fetched from being proactive, because you made a great point when you reflected back to 2015 to say from then they should have been proactive if they identified from them that they needed, or, they had the overcrowding of the facility and stuff. But I just want to share, I think, how exactly Caymanian people are thinking right now. We're Caymanians and we're all upset about it. And I too are upset to a certain degree because we know at the end of the day, the Cubans don't want to stay in Cayman, or the majority of them do not wish to stay here. We know that they want to go on. And I'm going to go back now. So that point is quite clear. We all know that. But it's what do we do with them while they're here? And it's quite reasonable to say that we all understand that our mother country, that's like me as a mother, have signed from Timbuktu years ago, whatever agreements and I don't know what they signed, that they have literally locked us in, you, me, the rest of the generations to come, with this, whatever that was, contract. I don't know what it is. They locked us in it, but we've been locked in. And then, of course, the MOUs that have been signed, and please, FOI, and ask them to present what you're asking for that you can't sign, because we really want to understand and see what is there that we don't know, because knowledge is power, and it's quite evident. We don't know something, so we need to know that. But I'm touching bases in regards to a proper facility that you talked about. I am upset because of the fact that we know we have our own Caymanian people that need to be taken care of. And other than them going and living on an AU, no facility is being built to help take care of our people. The government, and the only reason why the government probably reacted and is doing what they're doing now is because of you highlighting what happened a few days ago where I saw that video. But my thing is they currently have them in facilities. Let's look at it. They currently have them in detention facilities as it is now, whether it be the civic centers that we need, as our Caymanian people need, 13
and to be clear, let me just clarify something, because I think on this issue, it's evident that we have to be very careful to put the facts out there. So the detention center is at Fairbanks.
Yes, I know where that one is, and I'm getting to that.
The other one now at Bordentown is not a detention center.
It's not a detention center, but let's go back then to the
housing.
The real.
It's temporary housing.
Yes, but let's go back to the real detention center. The detention center is there. It's being manned by security, prison officers, police officers. All of those Leos are manning the facility. But I'm not asking you. I am telling you, because I have been at the actual the police detention place up there. I don't even know what that's called. I was there with some parents several months ago, last year, picking up some students that got in some trouble, and I went with the parents to go and collect their children. And while we're outside, they're standing up, where they have the prison up there, that they take you and they book you, whatever that area is called there, next to this detention center.
Yes.
I'm outside standing up.
That's called the detention center too. That's the detention center for the rest of us.
Good. So I'm out there. Yes. I'm out there standing up, talking to parents and students and police officers and stuff. And I look across and I said to the police officer, I said, hold on. He said, what happened? I said, that's how people enter that facility. There were 4 guys walking, climbing up over the fence and stepping over the fence. Now you're talking about a 10-foot, 12-foot fence. Stepping over the fence as if they were going through a front door. The point is that we already have a detention center where we should be properly enforcing their ins and outs of it. And then that's not being enforced, or whatever the rules and regulations are, how they get in and out, whether they scale a fence or walk through a front door.
Let me say this, caller. What you see there was never intended to be a detention center. That is adjacent to the proper detention center. And we're calling it a detention center for these migrants, but that was never the use or intention. So it is not built and fit for purpose. That's why they can scale the fence and go and come as they feel.
Okay, but my thing is that, but still, if you know that you have them, that they can step out of the facility and it's not being manned. Well, I can't say it's not being manned, because if you got law enforcement officers there, but they can scale these things, that means that the four corners of the facility or the grounds
they have one security guard. I've been to the location. They have one security guard who works for a private security company, I think, who just stands up front.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I'm not too familiar. But my thing is that, yeah, we have a facility, we have them in, and if that is not being properly manned, then yes, we're going to go and spend several million to build some place to set up. My thing is that if we can find a facility that we currently have them in, and maybe enhance on it, fix it, that we, even if we got turned to that same civic center, then turn that into a proper facility. And
let me say this, caller.
Yes.
At some point, you have to recognize that certain things are not built for purpose. This sounds to me like the argument of people saying with the courthouse, oh, well, just take that building and convert it into a courthouse. Did you guys hear what magistrate, Chief Justice, her name is Chief Justice, yes, Margaret Ramsey said? She said even the Scotia building, they spent probably millions of dollars trying to retrofit that. And there was only so much retrofitting that they can do. If something is not built for purpose, go speak to an architect. That's like you saying you must take your house and retrofit it to be this and that. They'll tell you, there's only certain retrofitting you can do.
Sandra, I stand to correct, and I do agree, but here's what happens around here. Sorry to say, some places are not built to retrofit. But then again, you have them when you go to retrofit them, instead of them perhaps tendering it out or going through the proper procedures to getting it retrofixed. No, contracts are being shared here, there, and everywhere with friends and stuff, and monies go to waste, because a lot of stuff that, or a lot of places that you retrofix or you remodel or whatever, and the way that they're wasting money on doing it. So, you know, that statement there, we can draw that back in, because guess what? I remodeled my house, and maybe if I had sticked with one company versus, I'm not going to get down in the argument, because, you can go there and you can spend millions unnecessary, but you can still get it done properly and stay within budget or just go over a little bit. So I'm not even bothering with that statement. But anyway,
for me, it's not about the budget. It's about, you say that there's plenty of places out there that we could retrofit. Tell me where these plenty places are. The Civic Center definitely.
I never said plenty places. I said maybe some place where they have them now.
Name one.
Well, I only know two places, and I don't know if there's more than that. But I know that you showcased the, what you call it, the Boston Town Civic Center. But again,
that's not a detention center. So if you make that the detention center, where are you going to put them for housing?
I understand that, but all I'm saying is that can't they look at maybe doing a place? And you think the people of Boston Town would agree to losing a hurricane shelter, losing their civic center, in order for that to become a detention center? Sandra, when last have they been able to use it? And what can they do?
No, but I'm just saying. But once it becomes a detention center, it becomes a long-term solution.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, say anything over 6 months is long-term, Sandra. And now how long have they not been there? 2 years?
Well, the intent is to eventually to return that to being a civic center. Even if they have to gut the whole thing, which they will. That's eventually what's going to happen, right?
But that question is, it goes back to which other district, if you want to say that, then, because you said, Boston Town, guess what? Where the government decides to put them, who can say to the government, you can't put them in my district because I don't want them here? What are you going to do? Put them up in the middle of East End, out in the wary on land? So you can't even use that as an excuse. If the government looks at us and say they want to drop them right here in the middle of Georgetown, what are we going to do? Argue with them? No, we can't argue with the government. Wherever they choose to put this detention center,
I think what would make sense.
Yes.
And again, I don't know specifically where they're talking about putting this detention center, but what would certainly make sense is for it to be where they currently have or adjoining land to where either the prison is or a current detention center. Logistically, that makes sense.
And you're right. Of course, I see that being developed down inside there now, really nice, because I saw a nice road there a few days ago, and I decided, let me drive on the road, only to drive into one huge, I don't know if you went on that road to see this nice big facility down there that just built. This nice big, I don't know whether it's offices or whatever, but you see what I'm saying? Yes, yeah, that would be the ideal location and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that, yes, Caymanians may not be totally aware of all of these treaties and agreements and contracts and all of this sort of stuff. And the MOUs, not even to you are knowledgeable, because you now need to go and request it. We need to know, what are they locking us in when they go and make these changes, and when they make these sign these MOUs on our behalf. We need to know what they state, because at the end of the day, it's us left to deal with it. And my thing is that if England has signed something and England wants us to have to deal with it, then guess what? Tell England to come and put some money in and pay for this facility, not me have to pay out of my back pocket to build this facility. Because at the end of the day, you paying for it, I paying for it, everybody in the Cayman Islands is going to pay for it. So that is what I think Caymanians' argument is. That's all we're saying. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, and allow me to be on the show for the...
All right, my dear. Not a problem.
Minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
bye-bye.
dear. Okay, let's read this bit, because this is important. Because this is where people get confused about what we can and can't do when they come in on their vessels. Under the heading of permitting migrants to continue their journeys. And anybody who wants a copy of this, please reach out. I'm happy to share this with you all. As we say here in this program, knowledge is power. Yes. If migrants and vessels which are deemed to be seaworthy wish to continue their journeys, they are permitted to do so without any repairs, food, water, safety equipment, or other assistance being provided to them. Let me just stop right there. Because I hear a lot of Caymanians who say, oh, but we'll give them water. We'll help them. We'll give them a boat engine. We'll do this, we'll do that. And what I'm saying to you folks is those are the things that we cannot do. Just this past week, I hear wannabe politicians. Oh, but Sandy, let's help them out. Let's give them water. We cannot do that, because we would then be seen to be facilitating illegal migration. So this is a perfect example of where you cannot have your cake and eat it too. Yes. Now you see where it says that if the vessel is deemed to be seaworthy, who makes that determination? Is that our officials, our CBC officers that are going to look at a vessel and say, yeah, that's seaworthy. Keep on going, honey child. Good luck. I don't even know who makes that decision. Who deems it to be seaworthy? Only God knows. Good morning, caller.
Morning. To answer your last question, that would be the Coast Guard. However, by way of analogy, are you saying that it would be wrong for Caymanians to assist a bank robber in escaping?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's all. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I just want to try to give an analogy that we're talking about criminal behavior.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. All right. Take care.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty clear. I think it's clear. Okay. So those are the things that we can't do. And all the time when we have this discussion with you, oh, let's just give them some food and water and this and that. We cannot do it. Okay. Look at what it goes on to say. The commission remains extremely concerned about how vessels' seaworthiness is determined. Really now? Most vessels are open boats fabricated by the migrants with limited resources. This quote, they're often made using either or a combination of wood or metal sheets having a single engine with direct drive, with or without a non-commercial sail, usually made of plastic or heavy cloth, with supplementary flotation devices, often in the tire inner tubes or bags filled with plastic bottles. The Commission is not aware of any cases where these vessels were equipped with navigation equipment, life jackets, flares, navigation lights, first aid facilities, or radio communications, all of which are required by Cayman law to be part of the equipment of any vessel leaving the islands. So in other words, what they're saying is, for all intents and purposes, if you're trying to read between the lines, that they are not seaworthy documents. They're not seaworthy vessels. And despite that, there probably have been instances where Denny said it's the Coast Guard. I don't know if it's the Coast Guard or not, but where whoever government has told them that, yes, your vessel is seaworthy, continue on your journey. But by very definition of what is required in our law for a vessel leaving this island, that's basically saying it doesn't meet any of the criteria. So that alone is questionable. Now pay attention, children. Under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, y'all think that we can do and we can operate in any manner in which we want. I keep telling you all, we are subjected to laws all over the place. And a government has to adhere to these laws. So here we go, another one. United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Whoever knew there was such a thing? Caymanian Sea people. Y'all ever heard of this convention? There is a duty to provide assistance to those in danger at sea. Similarly, under the ECHR and the Cayman Islands Constitution, the state has an obligation to protect the right to life of those within its territory. They go on to say, permitting vessels to depart from Cayman waters in an unseaworthy state or without adequate provisions or safety equipment and continue a perilous journey across hundreds of miles of open sea is contrary to these obligations. Okay? So, if we cannot provide them with assistance to make a vessel seaworthy, we can't do repairs, we can't give them food, we can't give them water, we can't give them safety equipment. And if pretty much all of their vessels are considered unseaworthy, and we have an obligation to protect life, the only option then is what? Is to bring them aboard. Okay? Y'all see how we got here? That's why we bring them aboard. Saying that we shouldn't flies in the face of all sorts of conventions and our own Constitution. Here's another one. The Palermo Protocols to the 2000 Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime. States are required to adopt measures to prevent people trafficking and migrant smuggling. What does it say then? In order to properly assess whether individuals are being trafficked or smuggled, a careful assessment needs to be made, and this will frequently involve interviewing migrants privately. This is simply not possible at sea on vessels of the size which Cayman possesses. permitting vessels to continue journeys without landing their passengers so they can be properly processed, risk the facilitation of people trafficking or smuggling. Y'all see it now? Are we paying attention, class? This one is a little bit deep today, but I need y'all to pay attention. Because everything so far that I have read says that we cannot do what you guys are suggesting. We can't just turn them around and throw them back on a boat. So we have to bring them on shore. And the first place they go when they come aboard is the detention center. But you guys don't believe that we need a proper detention center. Where they are is the yard to the detention center. No detention center would be open air like that where people can just scale over the fence. You see, it is necessary for us to comprehend and understand what the legal position is. Then it goes on to talk about the landing and processing of migrants. Okay? So when migrants are landed, if they wish to be returned to Cuba, they're repatriated in accordance with the terms of the MOU. Good morning, caller.
Auntie Sandy, it's your favorite dissident. How's it going?
Johan again. Good morning.
Yes, this would be the one and only, yes. I'll try not to yell at you if you try not to cuss me out. How's that sound? Let's start with that.
Well, there's no guarantees. There's a Friday after all.
Well, are we into extra time?
We went into extra time the whole show.
All right. Get your popcorn ready. Oh, no matter how this conversation goes, do you commit to still making me brownies with nuts this weekend? Yes or no?
I never committed. But wait a minute. I never committed to making brownies this weekend at all.
I get you on the record now. You're not going to trick me and treat me like shit. Go on. Yes or no? Very simple.
You sure you're going to want to eat brownies with me after saying what you're going to say?
That's true. Sometimes they dry up, but with a little ice cream, it always seems to work out well.
Go on.
Okay. Auntie Sandy, there's an MOU. How old is that MOU?
Okay. So we said that the last...
I want you to repeat it.
We said that the last one that we're aware of was 2015. If there is a newer one, and there could be, we don't know anything about it.
Okay, so shouldn't we be encouraging the Cayman Islands government to effectively review and update the proposed MOU to reflect current circumstances? Because
I'm pretty sure I said that earlier, but yes.
No. Again, I'm just walking you through it because that's what I heard you say, right? But check this out. Auntie Sandy, you're a bright woman. You have resources and you've got a good brain, and your message today is trying to convince us of something, which I get. But here's what I got to tell you.
No. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just trying to educate you about what our position is in law.
Sorry, with the greatest of respect, there are thousands of laws on the books in the Cayman Islands. And I'm going to tell you this. If we spent as much energy in doing right by Caymanians and applying the laws equally in the Cayman Islands as we are now insistent and desperate to do with this MOU or any other law that is aiding the Cuban refugee or crisis, then maybe I would have a different view of it. But you're telling me now, and hear me out for a second, Northwood Prison has been falling apart for decades. Northwood Prison gets burned down almost every year. I understand that there was a fire at Northwood Prison a couple of days ago, maybe last week. That hasn't made the press, no problem. But we're committing millions of dollars to a detention center for refugees that are going to burn down the detention center and riot and do everything that they do every time they can't get their way or get the attention that they think they're entitled to. How in God's good name are we spending millions on stuff like that instead of, hear me out for a second, we know that the government schools are overcrowded. We know that Caymanians are having trouble getting places. Caymanian kids are having trouble getting places in the government schools, right? So we're going to build a detention center, but we won't commit those monies to perhaps another school that will give Caymanians and alleviate some of the pressure that we have at the Clifton Hunter and at the John Gray, so on and so forth. I just want to understand how you and the government prioritize what is best for the Caymanian people.
I never.
No.
I'm not your elected official.
No. I'm talking about you're championing that we need a facility. We need a facility for Caymanians first before we need a facility for anybody that we can send home on a plane. Period. It's that basic.
Johan.
Yes, love.
Okay. Let me tell you.
You notice how I call you love because the brownies are more important than arguing with you.
Let me tell you something now.
Yeah.
Your government, this current government, has just committed to spending $50 million on a black school. So
I talk about the Grand Cayman.
No, hold on. I don't think your argument is that the government not spending money on facilities. How much money was spent building Clifton Hunter? How much money was spent completing John Gray last year?
But Sandra, if you take it from the lens of being how, and
just
I know
because, listen to what, hold on. Listen to what I said
Mm-hmm.
earlier. Just because you throw money at a situation or a building, that does not solve your problems.
Apply that same logic to the detention center that you want them to build or that they're contemplating building. It is cheaper to send people home than it is to build a detention center.
But you cannot,
anyway.
have you been paying attention? You can't just send them home. Where do you put them in the interim? That is the question.
There's a million laws in Cayman that we don't follow every day.
Johan, I can't believe that you're saying that we have international obligation, we have memorandum of understanding, and you expect us to ignore those things because we don't follow laws anyway.
Every day there are people here in Cayman that break laws.
No, not the people. Johan, calm down. Not the people. These are obligations of the government. When the government breaks laws, the government gets sued and the government is held accountable. Look at the number of judicial review cases. Look at the millions of dollars that government has paid out to people because they have gotten it wrong.
Hello, the Cayman Islands.
You're suggesting that it's okay for the Cayman Islands government to break laws and to break international conventions and so on?
I'm suggesting that if we had a process that sent people home quicker, we wouldn't need to build facilities and we could take those resources and put them into our Caymanian people. Because to build a detention center for foreigners makes no bloody sense.
Let me ask you a question since you think that your government doesn't spend any money on your Caymanian people. How much does government spend on an annual basis on NAU? How much is government spending on an annual basis on education?
Education.
Let me help you. Let me help you out here. $200 million on education,
and a lot of those personnel costs.
The government is spending money. We just had the biggest budget, $1 billion budget being spent. You can't say the government isn't spending money. And you also can't say that they're not spending it on Caymanians.
Listen, from my purview, and I'm about 50 years old.
Yes.
If you're going to spend money, spend it on your people. If you are going to spend money for a facility to say that you have a facility that the people can mash up and they can walk out the door anyway, because let's face it, We spend $2 million a year on security guards at these facilities. We're going to probably spend more money at the new detention facility. And guess what? The security guard going to have a flashlight and a whistle, and that not going to stop nobody from walking out of anywhere. So why should we go and spend money on these multi-million-dollar facilities and hire these security companies that make multi-million dollars a year when it is far cheaper to devise a program, a process that sends those people that don't want to be in the Cayman Islands and who cannot qualify for asylum and should not qualify for asylum back to where they can figure their lives out, because it is not for us to figure out your life for you. We can't afford it, because you know what's going to happen, Sandy? Every time we start doing stuff like this, the same Caymanian people are going to end up, we're going closer to some form of direct taxation because the revenue mechanisms cannot continue to absorb these big, expensive ideas. And if you're going to spend money, spend it on us, our people. Don't spend it on anybody else, because the next hurricane, they're all leaving, okay? So make sure you look after your own before you spend money on anybody else. Because again, there is nobody, there's nobody that lands in Cayman that ever leaves.
All right, we have another call in the line, caller. And by the way, that's that's not true, because some of the migrants actually get on a boat and leave, and we don't even know that they've left till they show up elsewhere. But anyway, caller, good morning.
Yeah, morning, Sandra.
Yes,
I'm calling to agree wholeheartedly with Johan, and at the same time disagree vociferously, because what he's saying emotionally and to some extent has validity.
Yes.
But the reality is we cannot pretend. We are not 12 and 6 and 12 and 15 years old and playing pretend. Mm-hmm. Reality is let's take Johan's scenario and walk it straight through. Yes, Cuban migrant, wannabe refugee, what have you. We're not going to be taking you. We're putting you on a plane and carrying you back to Cuba. Cuba says, no. We don't know that we're Cuban. That person's Cuban. You haven't proven to me that person's Cuban. We have no interest in taking back. Until you do so, you can't come. Cayman Islands government responds back going, no. He's Cuban. We're bringing him to you. So they go ahead and bring him back. Show up at the airport. The Cuban government says, you didn't understand what I told you. You can't bring this Cuban or this so-called Cuban national back here. And even if he is Cuban, we didn't give you permission to bring him back here. The Cayman Islands government said, well, what are you going to do about it? The answer to that is, well, let me show you. You see those flights that Cayman Airways takes over Cuba every single day to and from Miami, New York, and everything else? That no longer is allowed to be done. Exactly. So you have to fly around the entire airspace of Cuba. Exactly. That's added cost that Cayman Airways. How many millions of dollars? Someone can give you that number. So that's thing one. Thing two, again, going back to international treaties and what have you. Yes, the UK themselves are violating it, which is proof positive that when there's enough gumption to do something, it will get done. Yes, it violates the UK Supreme Court. But my last check on the news services is that the first flights are scheduled for June 1st to send them over to Rwanda. I don't know that that's the right thing to do. I'm not about to get into the UK's politics. But I do support that somebody has to put their fist to the table, slam it down, get somebody's attention in the Foreign Commonwealth Office and say, listen, we need a real solution to this whole thing. Because I too agree about spending all of our money that we have on us Caymanians. But then again, the rub to that is but spending money on Caymanians don't say you get value for money, aka perfect exhibit number one, our education system.
That's right.
What is it that I heard? 70% being failed? You right? So because we spend the money on our people, we can say, well, at least they're spending it on us, even though there's no result, no tangible results from it. Are you kidding me? So reality is that to me, part of the solution is send them on their way. You want to take those? We do have to have a detention facility, because if it's not the Cuban migrants or the Haitian migrants or any other illegal,
that's the set you want to come to Cayman.
Well, exactly.
Well,
Any illegal migrants, you do have to have a detention facility.
And you can't say at what point we might have a boat of somebody else come here.
But here's my thing. Everybody keeps talking about this human rights commission that we have here or even globally. The reality is no one has ever sat back and said to these human rights organizations, when they cry foul and go, you are not treating the Cuban migrants or the Haitian migrant or any other person humanely. And my answer to that is, hold up a second. In order for me to treat my Caymanians humanely, we can't afford to treat your people, which we have to move them along. So when I finish treating when I finish facilitating all of my people's needs or the country's people's needs, then we can put attention to these others. And therein lies the problem. So what people don't know is, and what people are not adding into this, is the cost of these lawyers that are representing these Cuban nationals who are more than likely siphoning from the public defenders, the legal aid. Well, how much legal aid money is being spent on lawyers? And it's these lawyers who are encouraging these Cuban nationals. Don't ask me how I know, but I can tell you, are encouraging these Cuban nationals to then submit for political refugee because the economic refugee status obviously doesn't work. And to be clear,
is this Eddie Thompson?
To be clear, here's another scenario for you that you want to know, is that we have Cuban nationals who have now become Caymanians over the years, even from back in Tent City days, who used to, out of the goodness of their heart, help their own Cuban migrants, trying to hold them over until they can get themselves sorted out, and rent apartments to the Customs and Immigrations Department to house these people, only now to say, don't you ever bring me a Cuban national migrant to my facility to rent again, because they've destroyed it over and over. So when we sit up in our ivory towers, and when I say we, I mean those in the higher level of the financial and societal echelons, and say, oh, we have to treat these people better. Climb down from them ladders, off of them towers, and walk through some of these, what they say in Latin America, barrios, these slums and in Cayman, because we have them. Walk down behind there and you see our people living conditions, and some of it, and a lot of it is self-inflicted, to be clear. And then come back and tell me, but we got to take care of somebody else. Again, like I said, emotionally, you cannot convince me not to take care of my people before taking care of anybody else. You have to take care of your backyard before you can take care of anybody else.
Here's how legal obligations work, right?
Hold on, Auntie Sandy, who's this caller?
I think if he wanted to identify himself, he would have.
It's Eddie Thompson.
Eddie, I'm willing to share my brownies with you. Thank you so much for bringing lucid thought and
he assumes he getting brownies. What an assumption. But listen.
You get no brownies by Sunday. You watch.
Listen to me.
Live with them.
Listen to me.
We obviously levity work there to try to bring this there, but this is, no matter how you twist it, it is a serious matter, and it's something that has to be flushed out. And I think these kinds of conversations are absolutely warranted, and in fact, desperately needed. But the truth of the matter is, and I think most people agree with this, is that it has to be the powers that be that just say, listen, we're no longer in cruise control. We need to take the bull by the horns. And I'm not talking about setting forward another committee, compiling a group of people that just come back up with the same stuff. This has to be the Jim Biden days of, listen, this is how it's going to happen. And then we will fight the fight, because Richie Sunak is doing that now. And don't get me wrong, I do follow UK politics to some extent, and there's a lot I don't subscribe to. But at the end of the day, even if he's doing it for political hold on a second, even if he's doing it for political reasons, at least he's pushing the needle. And therefore, bringing the real conversation is how do we fix their problem?
He's pushing the needle in terms of the conversation, but let's see what actually happens in reality. Because already their high court has said that it's unlawful.
Correct, and they're changing the law. But my point is that the powers that be are now. So that high court ruling has pushed the needle back on their court, or put the ball back on their court, and they're saying, all right, no problem. We will now rewrite the laws, because we no longer are a member of the EU, so we don't have to follow what the EU tells us to a certain extent, because again, politics being what it is.
Hello again.
Okay. Well, no. Let's see how that works.
I'm not saying he's going to be successful. My point is that someone is trying something than status quo, because what we have proven is status quo does not work. Is not working, and is leaving us in a worse financial situation as a country than if we tried something else. And with that, I leave you all. Have a great weekend.
Guys,
all right.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Drop it off,
okay. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, I totally agree with what those two men are saying before me here. Sunday, like he just the latter part of he said that the prime minister or this government has actually pulled themselves out of the EU with it. So it is going forward. There's nothing that's stopping them now. You know, the first Rwandan voluntarily went. So, you know, it's happening unless they have an election and then squash everything. But what the problem is, I think we just
when did the hold on. You said the first Rwandans went. Well, they're not Rwandans, but they're
no, the first person, male of course, went last week voluntarily with the understanding that they're getting moving. Then he voluntarily went, so that happened. But what
because the reports I have is that nobody's been sent back yet.
Not sent, but I'm telling you, there was a guy here seeking asylum from Africa, and he didn't want to go back to his country, Africa, and he decided that he would take up the offer and go to Rwanda. So he went on a commercial plane. They sent him over there, and they're paying him whatever they're paying him every month to stay there, or whatever.
Oh, so hold on. So you mean the UK government is going to send people to Rwanda and still pay for them to be kept in Rwanda? So they're still carrying a financial burden?
Well, I'm saying this particular person.
No, I'm just asking if that's how the Rwanda plan is supposed to work.
Yeah, well, they gotta maintain them till I guess till they process.
So the point here that these guys are making about we don't want to spend money on them, even when they're being sent to a faraway country like Rwanda, the UK government is still spending money.
Well, they're being processed, and that's until they're decided whether they're refugee or whatever. But what I'm saying is this: it is unreasonable to have persons waiting this long for being processed.
That is true.
What the bottom line.
Well, that is very true.
It should be a minimum time with everything. Look at that interview that you took with that young man. Why does it take 2 years when he have everything there? And he said he's admitted. I don't know if CBC has agreed that it's true that people are coming with their documents. So process them, because it's got to be a process. Process them and get out of the way. And if they do that, let me tell you, that's going to serve as a deterrent to begin with, because they're going to say they're not going to be hitching up in Cayman trying to get over to Central or South America and eventually into the US. That they're going to, that's how I see it. It's going to deter them that they say they turn them around in say 3 months. You turn around, you go back. We're not going to need a detention center to that extreme, because they're going to be on their way. Why we need the detention centers? Because the people are here or not here.
No, but
saying here, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but caller, you're making an assumption that we might never have any other migrants come for anybody else other than anywhere else other than Cuba. What happens the day that we have some Haitian migrants come by the boatload?
Well, God forbid, but it's going to be the same thing.
You're not going to have anywhere to put them.
And the other thing is that I think that they need to consider is getting more patrol in the waters, because they're only coming from one way to here to Cuba. What is wrong with getting more patrols in our seas or in our waters to deter that as well? It's a lot that came, but I can't see us spending that pile of money. You might as well say Miss Julia get her school, because it'll be left to the children if we're gonna turn around and make multi-million-dollar spending on a detention center.
So let me understand the logic based on what you just said, right? So a $50 million school for less than 200 children makes more sense to you than a migrant facility to house people, to keep us, the Caymanian people, safe, as well as to keep them safely detained?
I'm not saying it need a $50 million school.
But you just said might as well give it to her?
But might as well give her school. I didn't say it can take to. But then you're talking.
But what she wants is a $50 million school.
Well,
so
maybe
she's not asking for two. Well, she's not asking for $2 million school.
You know that in life we don't get what we want.
Well, she's getting what she wants because she's allocated $50 million in the budget.
Well, we'll see then, whatever. But anyhow, I'm saying this, that you just mentioned not long on the same show that prices of constructions and everything has gone up a
Yeah, so
lot.
that
So
$50 million
just thinking
school
that,
is going to be
yeah.
south of $100 million when we finish with it. Because
Anyway,
history has proven.
if you put a vote out there, I would say I'm not for it. So I just thought I'd put that. All
Okay.
right, thank you.
Thanks, my dear. All right, caller.
Hey.
Hello.
As I was listening to Eddie, I understand the sentiments that he's expressing, and you know, I find it hard to put money towards things that that we shouldn't really have to be dealing with if the world was different. But the world isn't different, right? And so he says, so they're saying, well, they're not, the UK is not in the EU anymore. That's true. Now, I happen to have watched the House of Commons discussion regarding withdrawal from the EU. The entire discussion, all the way up until they voted to withdraw. The reason why they did was because they didn't want European regulations to automatically apply in the UK. They wanted to be able to look at them and decide which ones they wanted to adopt or modify or reject. Now, what the aspect of the withdrawal from the EU that's relevant to this conversation in the Cayman Islands is that the UK did not withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights, which is what we have adopted in the UK Constitution for the Cayman Islands. Okay, so we still have the obligation, even though the UK has withdrawn from the EU. That's the important point.
Yes, those are the details that matter in our understanding of things. All right, thank you, Colin.
Bye.
All right, we got to wrap things up here at some point, but let me just say this: in terms of a detention center versus housing. So this is one thing that's very, very important. Asylum seekers, so after they've applied for asylum seekers should only be detained where an assessment shows that it is necessary to protect them or the public or for some other pressing reason. So that's why we have, on the one hand, the detention center until they're processed. Then we have additional housing. Right now it's the Bodden Town Civic Center. We need to find out why it's taking so long for applications to be processed once someone is seeking an appeal. I have heard, and I'm going to, again, these are FOI questions. We need factual information before we can make any real criticisms and any real determinations. But I have heard that the Asylum Appeals Tribunal meets so infrequently in Cayman that is one of the problems. If the asylum seekers themselves are saying, Sandy, we have written to this asylum tribunal a year ago, 12 months ago, over a year, and they have not even responded to our correspondence, how is the needle moving forward to deal with these people? So we're highlighting the plight of these people, not because I'm sitting here saying that, oh, open the doors to Cuban nationals and they must come here and get all these rights before Caymanians, this, that, and the next thing. No. But if we want to address the issue, there are certain things that we have to have in place. Why is their application process taking so long? Why are there no questions about that? Where's the audit that the Human Rights Committee said that they had put down, they needed to follow up on? Has it ever been followed up on? What's the sense of having these agencies, whether it's the Human Rights Commission or any other agency, the Appeals Tribunal, anybody else for that matter? What is the point of having all of these in place if they do not help to move the needle forward? Yes, there are procedures. And the procedures are laid out in law. But if you have agencies and tribunals and boards and whatever that are not following the procedures, how do we have an efficient and effective country and system? And that overarching concept and problem, if you will, impacts all of us as Caymanians. The government is not spending any more money on foreign nationals than it is spending on its own people. That's not really what's up for debate here. Go and check the millions of dollars in the line item budget that we are hemorrhaging for NAU, for education. And ask yourself the question, yes, it's being spent on Caymanians, all right. Are we any better off for it? The question really shouldn't be, oh, let's just spend all our money on Caymanians. Are we any better off for it? That is the real question. They're spending money. The next fiscal year's budget is going to be $1.41 billion. Over the next 3 years, we are projected to spend almost $3 billion. Children are getting free lunches. Sorry, lots of people are getting a free ride in this country. Money is being spent on Caymanians. And tell me, are you better off for it? Okay. I'll wait for whoever has the answer to that question. Money is being spent. No two ways about it. $200 million per annum on education. And 70% of our children are failing. Can't even read and write at elementary school level. They don't have the basics down pat. All sorts of behavioral issues in our schools. Young Caymanian gangbangers killing each other and going to social media and posting up all kind of foolishness on social media. But we're spending a whole lot of money on Caymanians. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning. I listened to you and I just wanted to jump on. Gonna make a little plug here for you. Tell Johan and Eddie I got brownies, blondies, banana bread, turtle meat with white rice and breadfruit.
All that today?
Ready.
All that today?
All of that.
That's
all
on the
that.
That's on the menu?
All of that. All of that. When they're ready.
Oh, when they're ready.
You're
But
not invited.
You're not cooking it today?
You're not invited. You ain't invited.
Oh,
you hear what I'm saying?
Really? Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, you're sliding back down to spot number 11, honey child. That was a fast slide.
The step from a ladder just fell out. No, but I wanted to join the conversation, and I hear your argument and I hear your sentiments, right? And I think I'm not suggesting that these people are less than. I'm not suggesting that they should be treated less than. Mm-hmm. But I am going to shamelessly and without any reserve say that if money is going to be spent, whether, and I can take the backlash for this, whether it's wasted or spent properly, let it be on Cayman. Let it be on Cayman.
But we're already doing that. We're already wasting it in Cayman.
Yes, but and I agree, right? But at this point, when I think of the most poignant and important things that Caymanians need, it is not a facility center to house migrants. I agree that there should be something, and we have to resolve that. And that's beyond us. That's the 19 that we've put up there, right? But it does not take 2.5 million for somebody to get their backside up, jump on a plane, go to the UK and say, we cannot do this. We don't have the means. We don't have the capacity. We don't have the resources.
Okay.
So
we need to take the UK's position, which is send them overseas to Rwanda. Still pay for it, by the way. And no one has said what that is costing the UK government. I would like to see what the projected cost is.
No. I'm not suggesting that we send them to some castaway island. I am simply saying somebody needs to get up, go to the UK and say, we do not have the capacity to maintain these people in any way, shape, or form. We don't have the means to process their asylum simply because of whether it's lack of expertise, lack of resources, for whatever the case is. And like I'm saying, while I agree we have an international obligation, I'm not trying to dispute that thing exists and that we should technically be able to do it. If it's not being done, I do believe it's because we don't have the capacity to do it. But what we do
What do you mean by you don't have the capacity to do it?
Well, if an application is taking 2.5 years or 2 years, as the young man there, in the least that we know about, then there's clearly something wrong on some end that it's taking this length of time to process. Whatever the case may be,
and he's on the low end because he said that there are people here almost for 10 years.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, why is it happening that way? Who are these people accountable to? Why is it taking this long? But I don't think that the solution, and to me, continuously throwing money at a problem or what we perceive to be a problem is the greatest show of ineptitude. Right? And so we just continue to throw money at it. But I mean, I stand here as a Caymanian, as a parent of 2 Caymanian children, and I look around and I'm saying, wow, I am grateful and dare I say lucky to have what I have in this country. But I also look on at close family, close friends who are probably twice my age, who don't have a quarter of what I've managed to, I guess, successfully accomplish. And when it comes to housing and some people look on it, and like I said, I'm not suggesting that these people are any less than. I do agree that in probably 95% of the case, they are economic migrants. Cayman does not have the economy to support a regular migrant, let alone an economic asylum seeker. And to that point, I am a little bit slighted that the government overnight, after somebody kicks up a little stink, overnight can come up with a $2.5 million budget. Yet we have people who, and in my opinion, whether we agree or disagree on it, I believe that the people who are currently on the NAU system are some of the most vulnerable of society. I'm not talking about the ones who are professional baby makers. I'm not speaking about them. I'm not speaking about the ones who have been lifelong recipients. I'm speaking about senior citizens. I'm speaking about handicapped people. I'm speaking about people who will, because of situations beyond their control, be it even mental illness, will never be able to function, quote unquote, like you and I. Right? And we've done a disservice to them. Those people are also kicking and knocking about the place. And overnight, we came up with a $2.5 million budget to build a facility.
Let's be very clear. I don't think that this happened overnight, because if you read the article and you heard what government said, they said that they did this in cabinet from April the 30th. We're just talking about this issue now. It's only now that they've.
It's only overnight. April 30th was just about. April 30th was less than 2 weeks away.
No. But that was before we were talking about this issue. So if you are to believe what the government has said, and that's a matter entirely up to you.
Well, I was just about to say, now if I believe them,
if you're going to believe what they have said, this has obviously been something that has been on the table for them. They're only now just announcing it.
Everything is on the table when it comes to the forefront. It's always ever been there, right? It's never been off. It's always been an issue of concern. And we know how that works. And I'm not calling anybody's integrity into question, but I will just say here today, I don't believe that it came on the table.
All right.
It's been on the table.
Leave us there. We do have another caller.
All right.
Kaboom! A few people said to give her kaboom. Caller, good morning.
Morning. Now, I know that the previous caller didn't like what you and I saying, which is to obey the law until the law is changed. But if she's referring to yellow heart breadfruit, I'm going to have to beg for an invitation. Take care.
Well, she never did say what kind of breadfruit, Naina. She just said she got breadfruit. All right, folks. What a mess. Lots of issues surrounding this for sure. What are we going to do? We have to have a proper detention center. We don't have that. Like I said, they're in the yard of the detention center, and that's why they come and go as they please, which in my opinion is very, very dangerous. And it's only a matter of time before how dangerous that is going to be very evident to the people of the Cayman Islands. There's also the broader issue. We are talking about Cubans right now, but somebody just said, the Bahamas is dealing with the same issue with the Haitian migrants. One of these days, we might get a boatload of Haitian migrants or migrants from anywhere in the world. It doesn't really matter. We need to have a proper facility that can house any illegal migrants until they are processed. Listen, folks, the documentation is there and happy to, share that with you. My source said that Mr. Manderson is actually going overseas. His wife has not been well, so he's actually traveling overseas. But at the same time, the MOU was updated several years ago. Why this is something that's not in the public domain, I have no idea, but I'll try to get some information on what has changed with the MOU. So basically what I was told is it allows us to return Cubans to Cuba who do not qualify for asylum, and that was the MOU before. So I'm not sure what has changed. Caller, good morning.
Sorry, I had to call back. Yes, it's Yellow Heart, but I heard you start to digress on to Haitian migrants and the like. And funny enough, as I hung up, I said, I see the point, and I said we as Cuban migrants know.
It could be anybody. It could be anybody.
Going to be another that lately, and the problem that I have and perceive is, will we receive those people with the same level of open arms as I feel like we're doing now? And I don't.
But it's not open arms. It's the correct procedure and what is required by law. Let me tell you what the governor's office said yesterday in relation to this in a query. They have said that, it doesn't sound like they want to get involved in it, first of all, but they have said basically that the Cayman Islands government has the obligation to provide these people with housing and that they are supposed to be doing so. Now, whether there's a question about the quality of housing is a totally different idea.
There you go. And therein lies the problem, right? But again, at the risk of probably being stoned and whatever. And again, I'm not suggesting by any means that these people are less than, but like the caller previous to me, the great Eddie Thompson, who's coming to my house for breadfruit and turtle meat. We have Caymanians living in those same situations, and whether they've created it for themselves or not, I care not. Right?
Well, you should care. You should care.
No. And I'll say I'll care not, because those migrants who are also coming here have chosen to put themselves in the situation. And while I don't know, I don't understand, and I pray to God that I never have to wonder what it is to have to leave my country to seek what I perceive, because at this point, to me, it's just a perception, right? What I perceive to be is going to give me a better opportunity, and hope keeps you hoping, and I get all of that. But the hope that I need needs to be in Cayman for Caymanians, and it must start with Caymanians. I keep saying to people, I have a charity that provides food for school children, and I keep saying, and I keep hearing, yeah, well, you keep doing it while their parents are out splashing it out on drugs and fingernails and hair nails and all the other stuff. And I keep saying, but it's not their fault. It's not their fault that their parents don't have it together, and I can't take it out on them because their parents don't have it together. However, in the case of migrants, they've made an opportunity, so they've made a decision to whether it's to take advantage of, or depending on which side of the coin you look at, that they've made a decision that they're going to leave their situation, however desperate it is or is not. The young man told you the other day, when you posed the question to him and you said, some people here are saying you may have been living in a worse situation than you are. You're living in a better situation, I apologize, here in Cayman than you were in Cuba. And I could almost see the literal eye roll. And he was like, I don't know about anybody else, but that was not me. So what I'm saying is, you left and to use his own words, I wasn't living like this. You left arguably what was a good situation for what you thought might have been a better situation, and you see what it is. I would go back, and nobody would have to put me on
that's not what he said. So you gotta pull in the entire context of what he said. He said he left, but he also said that in Cuba, he is a quote unquote journalist. I don't know to what level. And so he was posting stuff on social media that would have seen him incarcerated for life. That's why he left. That's what he said. He said he's not. He said he is. Go back and listen to the conversation. He did not say that he's an economic refugee. And he also, when asked a question about his living conditions, he said no, he wasn't living like this with 40 other people. He lived by himself. He said he had his little own business. He said that he is a political refugee because of his commentary, etc., on the Cuban government that he posts on social media. And in that country,
but if you take the whole situation in Cuba, if you take the whole situation, give me a minute.
You have to say what the young man said.
Cuba, well, to be fair, what I heard was.
Well, you didn't hear. Obviously, you weren't paying attention to what he fully said.
I'm only speaking specifically to housing, and when your question to him was, you're saying that there are some people in Cayman who are saying that your situation in Cuba was here currently is better than what you had in Cuba. I'm speaking specifically to that situation, right? And that may not be the case. So he's saying that he is a political refugee, and that has yet to be seen and or proven. After 2 years, I guess they still weren't able to do that. I don't know. You and I don't know what the delays are. I don't know. I wish I had the answers, but I don't. But the reality is, at the end of the day, there's still a decision that they have made on what they believe was best for them. Right now, we have the government making decisions and spending money on other people because they believe it's best for them, right? What I need this government to do is to stand up and start spending more money. Yes, spend more money, but if you're going to spend it on me, spend it on my children, spend it on the Caymanian children. I'm sorry. I'm not suggesting that these people need to be less than or more than or no. But if I'm going to do charity, it's gotta start.
It's not charity. It is what is required by law. So let's leave it there.
Well,
I will send. I mean, you can't disagree with what the law says, but I will send all of you who are interested in knowing the legal position, the documents that we pulled from today. I am happy to send those documents to you so you can understand our legal obligation. This is not a question of what you guys think we should and we shouldn't do. This is a question of what we are required to do under international laws and conventions. And, we didn't get through all of it this morning in time, it's 11:23, so we got to get going here. But, I invite you to read those documents. Challenge you're entitled to your opinion. Let me be very clear. We heard a lot of opinions this morning. And yes, you are entitled to your opinions. What you're not entitled to is your own facts. You're never entitled to the facts. Okay? So the law is there. All right? It talks about what the actual procedure is, how the memorandum of understanding works. We're not going to take any more calls because we are done for the day. But, go and read these pieces of documents for yourselves with a view to better understanding what the position is. All right. So I think it's unfortunate when Caymanians say that it doesn't matter that, our people are hemorrhaging millions of dollars on NAU. As long as it's being spent on Caymanians, we don't care. We are slowly but surely creating a socialist state in this country. And it's not, in my opinion, right that we think that as long as they're Caymanians, let's create a socialist state. That's what happened in Cuba too. As long as you're a Cuban, you could get free beef, free milk and whatever up to a certain age. And guess what? The people get used to that socialist mentality. Hasn't served anybody well. When you think the government is always obligated to take care of you just because you are a national of that country, get up, offer your behinds, and get to work and be more self-sufficient. Realize that government is not an empty and bottomless pit of money. The government gets its money from we, the people. When y'all complain about the cost of living in this country, one of the things that drives up the cost of living in this country is government having a $3 billion budget over 2 years. And guess what? I don't give a shit. I'm not here to support no good, not for good, not for nothing, whatever Caymanians who simply do not want to work. Okay? Who are able-bodied and they can work. And just because they're a Caymanian, I must support them? Not today, Bobo. I don't think so. I don't think so. And so I don't support that type of thinking or that rhetoric. Oh, just because they're Caymanians, we got to help them. No, just because you're Caymanian, that means you can get out and get up and go get a job. That's what you can do. Okay. All right, folks. That's all she wrote. What Tyrone said people can have a payment plan to have a child. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, folks, you guys have a good weekend. Again, the first flights, the UK claims that their first flights could take off as soon as June, according to court papers. But orders, well, they said July. Government sources have indicated flights could begin in July, but orders show that could happen as early as June the 24th. You know, obviously, we'll keep an eye on this. This is part of their immigration policy, but to be very, very clear, they're still paying for it. And I'd love to know what they're paying the Rwandan government to take these people as well, because you can't just send people to another man's country without some form of compensation. So I have to wonder if it's any cheaper for them to send them there. It's just a matter like, oh, we don't want them on our shores, but it's actually going to end up costing us more money. Can someone do some research for me and see the cost of sending them to Rwanda, if it's any better or worse or the same or whatever than keeping them in the UK? Because you see, these are the details that governments never want to talk to you about, right? So they say they're going to deport some 5,700 migrants to Rwanda in this scheme, but what is that going to cost the people of the UK? Mr. What's his name again? What's your prime minister's name? Rishi Sunak isn't talking about that. Why? Why don't we see the numbers? All right. That's all she wrote, folks. Y'all have a good weekend. Damien says, help the French get their empire back. Okay. Miss Joyce says some of her own need to get to work and stop milking the government and think that they don't need to work. Be on your show all day with nothing to do and talking a lot of foolishness. Oh my God. This person says Tyrone is going around asking everyone about payment because his wife is pregnant and HSA said they need payment of $10,000. Tyrone has a wife? Which Tyrone is this? Because he asked my mommy, oh God. The down payment was $1,000. So I'm confused. You don't have insurance, Tyrone? Tyrone has a wife? When did you get married, Tyrone? I didn't know you had a wife. Where you get wife from? What a hot mess. I'm telling y'all need to stop having children that you can't afford. Because if you think $10,000 is any money, wait till the child is here. I'm just saying. $10,000 is going to be the least of your worries. Oh, no, honey child. You're in for quite a ride. Welcome to the world of parenthood. Wait till you start to see what it costs to have a child. No, sir. On that note, y'all have a blessed weekend. Please be good. Going out there and, oh, honey, yes, labor ain't free anymore, just in case. I mean, I guess you can stay home and have it, but you might be taking a risk. Anyway, y'all have a blessed weekend. See you guys, God's willing, on Monday.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.